Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret64 podcast with me, your host, Yemi the Ferret. Ferret64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And today we do have so much more. I know these episodes have been a bit long lately, but there's just so much going on. This episode, we're going to cover Black Ops 7. I finished up Ghost of Yotei, along with a couple other games here as well we'll talk about. Also, there was an announcement from Steam that was pretty big, along with some other news as well. And then we'll round it all out with the final section of the podcast where we talk about what's coming soon. There was a state of play this week in Japan, along with some other things to talk about as well in that section. So let's go ahead and get started with what have I been playing this past week. Where do I begin is the question that has been on my mind since I finished Black Ops 7. And yes, I did finish it. Maybe I'll still play a couple rounds of multiplayer here and there, but as for the base of the game, I'm done with it. And Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is probably the worst Call of Duty that I have played. And I've played them all. This is coming from a place of not only just like years and years of playing this series. I mean, I started with Finest Hour on the PS2. Greedy Waffles bought the game because he was like, oh, the cover looked cool, I think. And we played it. It was really cool. And then we got the PC version of Call of Duty 1 plus the expansion pass with United Offensive. And it just kind of went from there. I've played every single one of these games from the good to the bad. And Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is definitely the one that I feel like deserves the lowest spot on this totem pole. Because despite what you say about Modern Warfare 3 from a couple years ago, at least the multiplayer was fun. You know, the campaign wasn't good, but at least it had that multiplayer mode that still was enjoyable, even though the maps from Modern Warfare 2 didn't really feel good with the new system. I gave Modern Warfare 3 a 1.5 out of 5 at the end of the day. And if you want to hear my thoughts on that game, you can go back. And I probably was pretty, pissed off during that review as well. This review, I'm going to try and stay as calm as I can while I talk about this game. But the problem is that Black Ops 7 is a continuation of a story that I really, really love from Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 being one of my favorite first-person shooter stories ever. Like, next to Halo 3, there's Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and Modern Warfare 2, of course, the original. And it kind of gets under my skin with all the decisions that they made, not just for the campaign, but for the game in general. I went into this game with low expectations or no expectations, either one. It was on Game Pass. I said, you know what, I'm going to re-up Game Pass. I'm going to play this game because I don't want to spend $70 on it. And I was justified in that because paying $70 for this game is akin to paying $70 for Modern Warfare 3 back when that came out. And, should I start with the positives? All right, let's start with the positives. Okay. All right, here we go. It looks nice. The game has incredible graphics, and the game runs well too. It keeps a steady frame rate and all that jazz. But yeah, the facial animations, the graphical qualities of it, all very good. Also, the sound design, not too bad in the game either. Like, pretty good sound design, of course. That's it for the positives for me. Because down to the core of this game, I was just not having fun. And when the core of the game is bad, the rest of the game, it just kind of eats away at the rest of the game. It spreads to other parts of the game itself. Let me start off by saying that my fears from the beta, where the game didn't feel good, it had that new jumping mechanic in there instead of wall running, they were absolutely true. I was right to have fear for this game, because when you get down to it and start playing this game, it just feels awful to play. The gunplay is not fun. The weapons lack the impact that you kind of want in a game like this. And the movement system is just doesn't feel good, right? Black Ops 6, I enjoyed that game because the movement system was really cool. You could dive left, right, back, forward. You could slide. You could. I mean, it just felt good to play. Like, was it realistic? Hell no. There was nothing realistic about Black Ops 6. But damn, that movement system was so much fun to just mess around with, whether it be during the campaign, zombies, or multiplayer. Black Ops 7 just doesn't have that feel to it. It reeks of, we're pushing this game out unfinished, because it has some elements of the Black Ops 6 movement system, but not all of them. It's very strange. It's also really strange that they would take out wall running in this game, because wall running has been in Call of Duty for quite some time, and it also makes more sense to have wall running in this game rather than Black Ops 6, because in Black Ops 7, it's set in the future, and you have bionic implants and all that crap. You should be able to wall run in this. I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm just talking about it already. And I'm about to get even more annoyed. Let's talk about the campaign, because the campaign was what I was really interested in going into this game, seeing what they were going to do with David Mason's story, because Black Ops 2 is a very unique game in the Call of Duty franchise, where you can make decisions, you can miss things that can impact the story later on, and these things start off slow at the beginning, which I've been showing on my streams, or playing Black Ops 2 on stream right now. It starts off a bit slow, like some of the things are kind of like, you have to do this, or it's a very obvious thing that you need to do, but then it gradually adds in these elements where it's like, oh, well, because of this, or this is a hard decision to make, or blah, 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 and it continues on, and it impacts the end of the story. What Black Ops 7 did, because Black Ops 6 has it has like 4 or 5 endings to it, which I know, so many endings. It has a couple of endings to it, right? Some are good, some are bad, some are ambiguous. Black Ops 7, what Activision decided to do, they decided to go off of the worst timeline for Black Ops 2. And what does that mean? It means that Menendez did not Menendez got killed by David Mason. It means that his message went out unimpeded. Unpeded? What's the word? It went out without any trouble. So they didn't save the hacker girl. So that message got out to the public, and it caused riots and whatnot, and people to rise up and go against the government. And then also David Mason's father, Alex Mason, from the original games, Black Ops 1 and he was in Black Ops 2 as well. They went with the notion that Woods killed him with a headshot. There's a very famous scene where a person with a bag over their head comes out, and Woods is told by Hudson that it's Raul Menendez under the bag. So Woods, as Woods, you can either choose to shoot him in the head or shoot him in the leg. And if you get the leg shot, Mason lives. If you shoot him in the head, of course, well, he's dead. So they went with the worst decision there, where Woods just shoots him in the head. They also go with one of the worst decisions, which is, I guess technically it's like a decision you have to make, but they decided to save Harper in the campaign. So that means that, it's complicated, but essentially you want to choose to kill Harper in Black Ops 2 because things actually go better for you. It's a hard decision to make, I know. So yeah, Harper's alive in this game as well. They also add 2 new characters who are just kind of like stand-ins. They don't really have anything going on. So, Black Ops 7. First things up, because I was just talking about Harper, they changed Harper's character completely. In the first game, or in Black Ops 2, he is serious at times, but he can make some jokes here and there. In Black Ops 7, He's just a joke machine, 24/7, just telling jokes, butchering the character, just making him comic relief and not much going on there. David Mason, they turned him from whatever he was in Black Ops 2, which was kind of like a badass soldier, as you probably know. They turned him into just like a blank slate, kind of like unemotional character, just whatever. The other two characters, they're fine, like 50-50. She has like a story where her limbs get blown off, and there's like a part in the game where she crouches down to defend Mason, and she puts her robotic arm and leg in the way. And it reminded me of that scene from Captain America Winter Soldier where the soldiers come in to shoot the Winter Soldier, and they just aim for his arm. They don't like aim for his waist or his legs, and it just reminded me of that scene. It's like, just shoot like a little bit lower or a little bit higher, and you'll get a kill shot on this woman. The other guy is revealed to have been a Secret Service agent for the president during the attack on Los Angeles, I think. Which is like fine. It's all shoehorned in, right? It's all shoehorned in. And the only reason that these characters are even relating back to Black Ops 2 is so that they can put in these scenes and these sections where you're playing through like a broken up dream-like version, floating platforms and all that version of the level that you did in Black Ops 2. So there's a section where you go into this guy, I think it's Samuel's mind palace or whatever we call it, and his biggest trauma is not doing enough to try and save the president during that whole shebang. So what happens? You pretty much go through a step-by-step retelling of the events from the Black Ops 2 mission, and you're just like shooting enemies as you go through it. You're jumping across these buildings, and I mean, there was a couple of cool sections that were kind of Inception inspired, where you're like climbing, like the freeway is like vertical, and you're climbing up the cars, like kind of cool. It's been done before in something like Titanfall 2, but kind of cool, I guess. So, I mean, this is all just like nostalgia bait. There's an entire section where you're in Vorkuta and you're using zombies to help you advance through Vorkuta, and they're going through like each of the steps, like skewer the winged beast and all that stuff. Like, you go through all those things again, and it's like, wow, I just want to go back and play the Black Ops 1 mission because there was more impact there. There was something actually going on. This is all just in the mind, the chip of the soldiers. All of them are connected. That's how it's 4-player co-op. All the chips are connected and linked together, so everyone can kind of join each other's nightmares. There's another level where you go and you have to save Woods from the cargo container, much like in Black Ops 2. And it's just going through all those steps, and then you find Woods, and he tells you something, and then you go back to the real world. And like, I wouldn't be as annoyed if they just respected the source material a bit more, but they're literally just using it for jumping off points and flaky plot points. Oh, I'm starting to get angry. It's one of those things where it's just used for nostalgia. It is literally just used for nostalgia. There is nothing else. There is no real substance to anything that is going on. It's all just nostalgia bait. It's all just this big umbrella of, hey, Black Ops 2 was a great game, wasn't it? You loved Black Ops 2 and that campaign, didn't you? And it's like, yes, I did, but why are you doing this now? And it's because Call of Duty is in a place where they need to try and push this nostalgia agenda so that people buy the game and play the game because maybe they have fond memories of Black Ops 2 like myself, or maybe they enjoyed the story of Black Ops 2, or maybe whatever. And so that, I mean, I just feel like that's why, and also I feel like Call of Duty is like, oh, well, people are probably going to be pretty nostalgic for the futuristic era of Call of Duty, right? So let's do something with Black Ops 2. I think that's also what they were doing, because Black Ops 6 and Black Ops Cold War are kind of like nostalgia bait for the original Black Ops game, where it was set in like Vietnam and whatnot. So, I mean, it all kind of like comes around, and I don't know if people are really nostalgic for the futuristic era of Call of Duty. I mean, honestly, Black Ops 2 was kind of just the beginning of the whole thing, and it was still boots on the ground and whatnot, but there was cool things like the claw tanks that could walk around, and all these like really cool attachments for your weapons and stuff like that. Like, there was cool stuff in the game, don't get me wrong. But you fast forward to Black Ops 7, and all the guns you're using, there's no like cool attachment for them. There's no like, oh, here's the one that like can show people through walls, and oh, here's the one that can like puts a diamond on the enemy, so you kind of can see them more clearly. Like all that stuff is like taken out of the game. There's really no sci-fi elements in the game other than the aesthetics, like the cities and the things that you're interacting with. Like, oh, this is a sci-fi laptop because it's just a screen and a keyboard. Woo. I'm using my NFL football pad to type out some command. Woo, watch out. Like, they don't even have a grenade that shoots from your wrist. That was a main thing from Black Ops 2, was a grenade that shoots from it's an impact grenade, shoots from your fucking wrist. They don't even have some of the baseline shit. Like, oh, we have an EMP grenade in there, though. So there's EMP grenades in other Call of Duty games as well. This is nothing special. Well, the one thing that was, like, there's so many things that you can say that were from Black Ops 2 that made that game futuristic and felt futuristic, is because they had all these cool gadgets and gizmos in that game to make it futuristic, even though while keeping the gameplay boots on the ground. It was great. And then, yes, Black Ops 7 comes around, they're like, it's in the future. But how is it in the future? Other than the aesthetics of this game, how is it in the future? Because we don't see a lot of the real world. You go into these dreamlike sequences almost every other level. So the game is set up like this. You do a section in the Warzone map that's just kind of like an open area, and you're just shooting enemies, and then you get to an objective. And once you get to that objective and you interact with that objective, it takes you into the dream world. You go into this level where you're fighting Raul Menendez with machetes, or you're finding woods, or you're going through Vorkuta, or you're fighting a giant version of Harper on the aircraft carrier, which is another famous scene from Black Ops 2 as well. You're fighting on the USS Obama, right? So, yeah, half the game is on the Warzone map, half the campaign. And this is the same problem that Modern Warfare 3 had, where you're just repurposing and reusing these elements from Warzone for your shitty campaign. It loosely tells a story, and you go from point A to point B, and maybe there's something to do in the middle, but there's definitely something to do at the end to get you into an actual level. But these actual levels aren't really designed that well either. I think there was like maybe 2 levels in this game that I enjoyed playing. One of them was the one in Los Angeles where you're doing the pseudo save the president level, and the other one was this level where you start off on. There's that map in Black Ops 6 that was like the yacht. I think it was also in Black Ops 2, the yacht. It's essentially a recreation of that map, and you're going through stealthily killing enemies, and then you have to ram the boat into the docks, and then you jump across the buildings in Tokyo, I think it is. And I thought that was pretty cool until the end, when there was a boss fight with a bullet sponge VTOL. But there was like 2 levels in this game that I was like, okay, that was kind of fun. I could see myself maybe replaying some of this level in the future. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. But all these Warzone sections, these are not levels. These are essentially, remember how in the Lego games, it's like when there was an open world, whether it be in Lego Batman or Lego Marvel or whatever, you would have these sections where it's between the main story missions, and you're just kind of like walking through the open world and doing basic objectives. It kind of feels like that, where you go from the intro mission where you're trying to get into this facility to see what they're up to, and then you go to the Warzone map, and then you go from the Warzone map, you do a little objective in the Warzone map, and then you go to the next level, which is finding woods or fighting Raul Menendez or whatever. So yeah, like all these things are just stupid. It's all just stupid, okay? It's all brain dead and fucking stupid. There's nothing of substance in this campaign whatsoever, and it's so fucking annoying because Black Ops 2 once again is one of the best of the Call of Duty campaigns that it has to offer. It's one of my favorite first-person shooter campaigns, so going into this game, I was like, just at least do something with the story. At least do something with the story. They do nothing with the story. Nothing with the story at all. The main villain of the game is it's not even a twist. She like there's like an opening sequence where she's like being interviewed by a news reporter, and she's like, "We're gonna do our best to try and fix this situation." And what happens? Well, they have some sort of red gas that makes you hallucinate and affects your cybernetics, and she releases it into the facility, and it's like it's her from the get-go, and even in the first cutscene they reveal that it's her. And I mean I know that it was in the reveal trailer that this woman was I forget what her name was, but this woman was the villain. But it's like, can you at least do something of substance in the story? Like maybe try and do something like you did in Black Ops 2? No, of course not. This is a baseline, vanilla Call of Duty experience that will not be very memorable and will probably, hopefully, sell the worst that the series has sold in a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it just the campaign. It started off on the wrong foot by choosing the wrong timeline for everything. It continues to be on the wrong foot because there is just no sci-fi elements that you're really interacting with. Like you're shooting robots sometimes, and these like weird hallucination constructs that are more akin to zombies than anything else. And you're going through these vanilla bare bones levels in Warzone, and then you're getting to an actual level that is just the same shit. It's just the same shit. You go from point A to point B, and you shoot everything in your way. And the most annoying thing, or maybe the more annoying thing, or maybe partially an annoying thing about this game is the fact that the enemies are all bullet sponges. Like, it takes a whole clip to take out some enemies because they have a health bar. It's RPG elements in my Call of Duty game. I can't just shoot people with 2 shots or a headshot and call it a day. No. They have to, you have to shoot this robot like 50 million times with 3 rounds of ammunition to get them to go down. You have these boss characters who come around who they snipe you, or they vanish in and out of sight, or like Raul Menendez from he's like the first boss fight in the game, and by the way, he was a big part of the marketing and the big part of the first cutscene in the game. He's not in the game whatsoever after that first point, so it's like, what the fuck? He doesn't even matter. But essentially, you can't take him down with regular firearms, or it'll take a very long time. You have to use these like machetes coming down from the sky to take him out. And it's like, look, man, I like, this is just it's a Call of Duty campaign. We don't need to have these sort of things in the Call of Duty campaign. Like, just write a decent story and do what you did in Black Ops 6. I don't think Black Ops 6 had a perfect campaign, but it was fun. It had elements in there that were exciting. It had the whole espionage and like actual Black Ops shit going on, which is a real problem for this game and a lot of other games that call themselves Black Ops. There's just like nothing to do with the Black Ops mantra of being an undercover team or a deep in cover team. Like there's nothing going on in this game that even relates back to Black Ops. Same thing with Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4 for sure. Like these games, they don't have any espionage. They don't like Black Ops 7 definitely. It barely has any stealth sections. And when you he said doo-doo, when you do a stealth section, you have the ability to just start shooting enemies anyway. It's not even actually a stealth section. There's no consequences to being caught. There's no objectives where it's like, oh, you can't be caught during this section. There's nothing like that. It's all just baseline, kill all the enemies, get to the objective area, boom, bada bing, get out of there. And it just makes the entire campaign experience so fucking boring and annoying. There is an entire boss fight where Harper becomes this giant monstrosity, and he's like all pissed off. And the amount of time it takes to shoot that fucking boss was so long. There was nothing you could do to really speed that up, and I was so bored just unloading clip after clip after clip into this fucking thing. It was so fucking annoying. And the final boss fight for the game, you fight 3 mechs. You use an RPG to take them out. It is the most baseline shit ever. Do they spawn in enemies? Yes. Do I need to care about the enemies? No. I can literally just fucking headstrong it and kill the robot quickly. Like, it's just so fucking dumb. Like, the whole campaign is just so fucking dumb, and it doesn't even feel fun to play. That's the other thing too. The guns lack impact, the movement system is dull, and the entire game just lacks that sci-fi flair that you're hoping for in the weapons. It's one of those. It's just so annoying. It really gets me riled up. And the things they did with the characters and what they decided to do, just I wish that they would uncanonize this game immediately, because it doesn't ruin Black Ops 2, but like, damn, like, just damn. Just damn. For fuck's sake. So yeah, the campaign, utter and ultimate, it's just dog shit. It is dog poo poo, and there's nothing really redeeming about it. Was there 2 levels that I enjoyed playing? Yes, on a baseline, like, oh, this is kind of fun to jump across cars, and oh, this is kind of fun to jump across buildings. But the levels themselves weren't really good. You know, the one where you save the president, well, quote unquote, save the president. You know, it's just a basic like run and gun type level, and then there's some platforming elements. Same thing with the level where you're jumping across the Tokyo city. You know, like it is what it is. It has a nice progression to it, but then it ends with with a boss fight against a VTOL that turns invincible while enemies spawn and takes forever to take out because it has so much health, even with the fucking RPG. Ah, man. And they also decide to throw in a twist into the game. Ooh, a twist. So there is one level where you play as a new character. There's a group of new characters. And I shit you not, these characters are only added in so they have more characters for the multiplayer mode. You know, they got the guy with the like this big mask and apparatus on him, and he looks like the guy who was the firebug from Black Ops 3. There's another person who is wearing like a fighter pilot helmet with the little tubes coming off of it, kind of a TIE fighter pilot maybe. Like that, you know, she doesn't like these characters don't make sense to be here. There's another girl who has like a knit cap on and a backpack on, like she's in some sort of apocalyptic movie. Like, what are these characters doing here? The main guy was the only one who looked the part. Everyone else just was random. It was like they picked out these character designs and were like, yeah, this would be a good character to put in here for a Black Ops squad. No, they're not. they're just characters that you got from the multiplayer mode or whatever. Like it doesn't make any sense. There's no cohesion to this group at all. At least with Mason's group, they all look relatively the same. They all have cybernetic enhancements. They all have a personality. And in this other group that you go to, it's like no one matches. No one matches. There's no cohesion here at all. And then the stupidest thing is that they make the main leader of that group is just like Salazar. He's the twist villain. He gives all the information to blah blah blah. And it's like, who cares? We saw this guy for one scene. They do the same thing at the very end of this game. They show the woman's like right hand man like smashing a tablet. He's like, fuck, they got my queen. We saw this guy for 30 seconds in the opening cutscene. That is all the time in the game that he got for the entirety of the game. 30 seconds in the opening cutscene, maybe not even 30 seconds, honestly. And then at the end of the game, they show this dude with he has this ring, like that's a very important thing. He has this ring and he smashes the table, Hulk smash. And it's like, God, who is this guy? I don't even know who this fucking guy is. I had to look it up. Because they didn't show any. This guy was not an important character throughout the entire campaign. The entire fucking campaign. He does not do a single thing. He says nothing. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking brain dead. This entire game is brain dead. Oh my God. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, yeah, if you're playing solo, the campaign is always online. You can't quit out of a level or you have to restart the entire level. It actually match makes before you go into it, so if you have fill squad or have your party open, it'll automatically fill you up with 3 other people to play the campaign with. There are no checkpoints during the campaign, but if you do die, it's not like it's a complete game over and you restart the level. You just kind of like spawn in and all the enemies that you already killed are already dead. So there's no real consequence to dying in the game once again. It's just really, really stupid. Like the whole 4-player co-op thing doesn't even matter in the end. If you're playing solo, it doesn't even have bots fill in the roles of the other 3 characters. They're just gone. They're just not there. Even though they're still talking to you, they're just not there. And it's so half-baked. It just really is so half-baked. The whole campaign feels half-baked, which is another symptom of Modern Warfare 3. When Modern Warfare 3 came out, like it just felt like a giant expansion pass that they were trying to sell for $70. And the game was so disappointing. in a lot of different ways, and then the campaign was the main thing there, where it just felt really thrown together. Like, even though the animations were fine and maybe the story beats for the most part were fine, the problem was is that the levels felt very thrown together. There was no objectives to really speak of other than shoot enemies and move on. And I think that there was actually some more thought put into Modern Warfare 3, because there was actually missions where you could lose and you had to restart and stuff like that. And there were some cool missions in there too, like the whole there was that whole mission where you were like in the ghillie suit and you had like the big vast open area that you were like by the lakeside or whatever that you were going through. Like, that was, that's a level that I look back fondly on. Black Ops 7 though, it has nothing like that. It really doesn't. It's all just thrown together Warzone assets. The enemy types, they're all just stupid. Like, there's nothing really that interesting in this game. They also couldn't even design little robots. Like, they have drones, but those are in the campaign. I'm sorry, the multiplayer and the Warzone. So it's like they don't really need to even do anything to specially design those drones. But they don't have any claws. They don't have any of those little like robot guys with the twin guns running around. There's like a couple of sentry guns in the game. Other than that though, there's like nothing there. And the VTOLs that come in, they just drop off enemies and then leave. Like, there's like I said, there's nothing sci-fi about this game other than the aesthetics. Like, you could literally plaster a Modern Warfare setting over this, and it would make no difference whatsoever. There's literally nothing about the game that screams sci-fi other than the way that it looks. There's no interactable things that are sci-fi. There's nothing like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just stupid. And then you might have the counter argument. Well, what about the dream sequences? They're dream sequences. You can do anything you want with a dream sequence. And also, like, this has been a trope of the Black Ops series and even Call of Duty in general, and a lot of games in general. Like, even games like Marvel's Spider-Man and stuff like that use these dream sequences to kind of change up the gameplay a little bit. It's fine when it's just like a level, right? Call of Duty Cold War had the same thing where it was like a level. I think Black Ops 6 also had that level where you were like fighting zombies inside of that CIA place, right? Like, a level is fine and actually fun, but when it's every other level or every level, it just gets annoying. It just gets annoying, and it just becomes a trope that is overused. And that's exactly what they did in this game. And you can go back to Black Ops 2. You can play through that campaign. I don't think there's a single dream sequence in Black Ops 2. I will be honest. It's kind of crazy. It all started with Black Ops 3 when they did that World War II section during Black Ops 3. And after that, every single Black Ops game needed to have, well, besides from Black Ops 4, that's the asterisk, that's the exception, Black Ops 4, because Black Ops 4 didn't even have a campaign attached to it. But I gave Black Ops 4 like a 2 out of 5 because I thought the gameplay was still at least fun, and the multiplayer had some addicting qualities to it. Right? Like, it's so crazy to me. I went back through and I double checked all of my ratings for the Call of Duty games. And yeah, I mean, I gave Black Ops 7 the lowest score out of any game, which I will reveal after we talk about the multiplayer and the zombies mode, which is going to be a pretty short segment because I don't really have anything to say other than the multiplayer. It just doesn't feel great. It's very like thrown together. There's a lot of old maps coming back, and that's another symptom of like, okay, they're just kind of like shuffling in old content, reusing old content. It has the same problem as the campaign where the weapons just lack the impact and the feel that they need to make it fun. The regenerating health is really quick in this game, so if you shoot someone and they run away, they'll likely have full health when you go around that corner. The weapons and gadgets that you use, just nothing really screams fun to me. The little charge abilities that you have, like you can put down that drone dispenser and whatnot, those are fine, but they ultimately really don't have any impact on the battlefield at the end of the day. All the score streaks are just the usual things that you would expect from a Call of Duty game. As I said before, all the attachments and stuff like that, there's really nothing super sci-fi about it. Like, the attachments are just what you expect. Like, some of the guns are interesting, like interesting concepts, but there's nothing to really make them truly interesting to use, right? They all just kind of either feel the same or they just kind of are copy-paste from past Black Ops games. The character skins are dumb. You know, I know that they said that they weren't going to be putting in like all the crazy like cartoony character skins, but when you see that fucking robot guy from Transit running around, it's like so stupid. I even typed like this guy was gloating about his kill death ratio, and I was like, y'all should stop, fucking around until you take off that fucking disgusting skin, right? It's just stupid things like that. The map design, like the original maps for the game, really aren't that good either. Like they're either too big or they're too crowded with like various hallways and stuff that go around. Like I just found myself getting lost or just like not knowing where the enemies are. The other thing that happened to me, which I think is a problem for sure, is the fact that it didn't like fill in the lobby when people left. So essentially, it was a group of 5 on my team against a group of 1 on the other team, and it was like a 5 to 7 minute like experience where it was just one person on the enemy team. The game would not populate any more players for the match, and it was just the most boring shit ever. So yeah, I also think that the game is rampant with people who are using some sort of aimbot or hacks. There are some things that have happened to me in the short time that I've played the multiplayer where I like I'll be shooting the person and they'll just like snap, fire one shot, I'm dead. And it's like, okay, that you watch the kill cam, it's like that is really suspicious. So I feel like also the anti-cheat for this game is not as good as it should be. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many things about the multiplayer that are layering on top of each other, and it all comes back to the fact that the guns don't have impact and the movement is just so restrictive compared to Black Ops 6 that it just makes the experience not that fun. So yeah, I mean, and the map design is also just like really not that good either. So it's a big triple whammy on the multiplayer there. And then the zombies mode is exactly what you expect. It's just, it doesn't do anything. Like the map that they put out really just does not do anything to change the formula, change the aesthetics, et cetera, et cetera. They bring back they bring back Tank Dempsey and all those characters from the old games, and it's like, okay, thank you, but also at the same time, like, what is the significance? Like, what is the point? Like, there's one thing that a lot of people love about these Call of Duty games, especially the Black Ops series, and it's the Black Ops zombie story and all that stuff going on. And I just feel like there's nothing here. Like, is it the map that they give you is just so bare bones. It's just the same thing again, where it's like, oh, we have this intricate Easter egg, and oh, we have all these zombies coming after you, and they actually reuse assets from Black Ops 6 with the spider characters and the flying characters as well. Like, there's just like, it just doesn't feel like a better or a new iteration of the zombies mode. It just feels like the same thing. And maybe that's a good thing for some people, but for me personally, I do like to see more effort put into this stuff. Black Ops 1 zombies to Black Ops 2 zombies is a huge leap. Black Ops 2 zombies to Black Ops 3 zombies is a completely different beast. And there was actually like a zombies campaign for Black Ops 3 as well, which is kind of crazy. And then Black Ops 4 zombies was a completely different beast there. Infinite Warfare zombies mode with the 80s aesthetic, like that was really cool. Like there's so many things that they did in the past that were much more interesting than just going like, okay, let's just copy this and put it into the next game, which is just how it feels. And that is a symptom of it being a rushed game. It is a rushed experience. They threw this out there and they knew what they were doing. Like they knew, like Xbox, Microsoft, Activision, Treyarch, they all knew what they were doing here. They were doing the exact same thing that they did between Modern Warfare 2 reboot and Modern Warfare 3 reboot, okay? It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact symptoms, except the game got much, much worse in this instance. And even though Black Ops 6 was not one of my favorite games of the year, I was playing Black Ops 6 all the way up until like summer of this year. And the same, like, I just don't see myself doing that with Black Ops 7. I bought battle passes for Black Ops 6. Like, that's how much I was enjoying that game. And I hadn't done that since Modern Warfare reboot. So, yeah, I mean, it's really disappointing, and it's absolutely embarrassing. It's embarrassing for Treyarch. It's embarrassing for Activision. It's truly mostly embarrassing for Microsoft to be putting out another shit Call of Duty game after Modern Warfare 3. And look, I gave Modern Warfare 3 a bit of leeway because it's like, oh, it's during a transition period, and Xbox was probably just like, hey, put something together, we can throw it out there while all the legal stuff is going on for the acquisition. It's like I gave them a little bit of leeway there. But I just cannot do that for this one. There is no transition period. There is no legal things going on. It was just Microsoft and Activision pushing out another Call of Duty game after they said that they were going to be giving Call of Duty a break. They said, we're going to be releasing these every other year now because they have longevity to them. Oh, I guess not. I guess Microsoft is really scraping for fucking dimes because... God damn, they put out they have to put out a Call of Duty game every fucking year. Black Ops 6 was fine. They could have let that thing ride another year. I mean, we were practically there. It is just the most embarrassing slop that I have played in quite some time, and I've played some fucking slop. Let me tell you that much. And you know it. You know. I come onto this podcast and I talk about everything that I've fucking been playing, from the good to the bad to the worst. And this is definitely one of the worst things that I played, not only this year, but in a quite some time, probably since Modern Warfare 3, honestly. Like, it is just mind-boggling that this game it came out in the state that it's in, and it is such a piss poor representation of anything. It has nothing going on. It has the sci-fi elements are not there, the story is not there, the multiplayer is not there, the feel for the game is not there, the zombies for the game is boring and rehashed. It is just the worst Call of Duty game that I have played ever. And I've played Final Fronts, I've played the PSP game, I've played the DS games, I've played Modern Warfare Reflex on the Wii. All those games I would rather play again over Black Ops 7. Which is why I'm giving Black Ops 7 the lowest score in my ranking and rating of Call of Duty, which is a 1 out of 5. Now fuck off. All right. Let's talk about Ghost of Yotei, which I finished this past week. I don't want to rehash things that I've already talked about, but essentially, I mean, the game in general is good. Like, it's a good sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't think it surpasses Ghost of Tsushima. There's a lot of things about Ghost of Tsushima that I really enjoyed, and I just think that Ghost of Yotei, it definitely tries, and I just don't think it reaches the same heights that Ghost of Tsushima did. Now, Ghost of Yotei still has pretty decent gameplay to it. It has a fun open world to explore, a massive open world to explore, really. It also has, it has great graphics, it has great sound design, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff in there that I can praise and be happy about. But those aren't the most important things, especially to me, especially to probably most people who are listening here. Because when it comes down to it, I just really did not enjoy the weapon switching system as much as the stance switching system. I felt like the stance switching system had a much better flow to it. It had much cooler animations to it. Like the story progression just felt a bit more impactful because you were just you were utilizing the katana in ways that you just different ways. I lost my words there, but it was just different ways that they were doing the katana with Jin Sake. With Atsu, she changes weapons, so there has to be an animation for changing weapons, and they are just like appearing out of nowhere on her, and it's just kind of like, I just feel like if you're gonna do like this multi-weapon thing, I would definitely have all the weapons be showing up on Atsu at all times. But I think the problem is that really doing that would be such a struggle because she has so many weapons that she switches between, plus her little guitar, her guitar. So having all those things on her person at all times obviously would be an animation nightmare and probably would be a lot more difficult to do. But that's why Ghost of Tsushima could do that. I think I'm trying to remember. I think all you have in that game is the katana and the bow on your back, and that's kind of like your main arsenal. And I think that the bow on the back switches between something else every so often, but for the most part, it's the katana, and you're using different stances. So when it comes down to it, like, it's a bit immersion breaking when you're using like the spear or the odachi, and she puts it away with a really clean animation, and it just kind of like disappears when you take out your little guitar. Or it disappears when you pull out the bow. And it's like, well, it should still be there. Like, and especially during battle when she's like, she's holding like the katana and she puts it away like haphazardly and then takes out another weapon. Or it's just, the animation is just not as clean as just simply switching between stances with Jinsake. The most clean stance change is, of course, the single katana to the dual katana. But other than that, like, everything else is just kind of like almost a haphazardly animated like sequence of events. And it's a little bit frustrating to me because of the fact that they do all these animations of her putting the weapons away. If you swipe right on the touchpad, she'll put any weapon that she's holding away, and it always has like a nice clean animation, especially the katanas and stuff like that. But when you're switching between the stances, just through battle, it just the animation is just not very clean. Also, I feel like a lot of the weapons just end up kind of being redundant for me personally. I was really just using the katana and the kunai with chain for most of the playthrough after I unlocked all the weapons. Like, I don't think I touched the odachi after I started using it because I just felt like, it just takes too long to take out. The swings are too slow, and I can take out the big guys with the katana in a couple hits anyway. So, like, why do I even have the odachi? Same thing with the bow and arrow. Hardly used the bow and arrow in this game after I got the rifle, which I know was later in the game, but I wasn't even using the bow and arrow that much during the regular game itself. And then once the rifle came around, it was a one-shot kill. I was like, okay, yeah, why even have the bow and arrow? So I just upgraded the gun all the way and said, all right, here we go, let's fucking go. I feel like they should have introduced the rifle and the pistol way earlier in the game because those were more fun to use and more unique to use in the setting than the bow and arrow, but I digress. I didn't really use the dual katanas either after a point in the game. Like, there was a point where I upgraded the katana all the way, and my stance that I had equipped, it didn't matter. As long as I pressed the parry button at the right time, I would get a perfect parry, and I would pretty much just essentially just kill whoever was in front of me in 2 hits. So I was pretty much just using the katana throughout most of the game, even though they really try and put it into your head like, oh, you have to use this weapon for this character. It just felt redundant to me after a while. The only time that I switched weapons at the end of the day was to get out the kunai, and that was to take out any shields that the enemies were carrying. Other than that, it was pretty much just katana all the time. And it's just a little bit disappointing to me because I thought that the weapons looked really cool, and when they did a good job of animating them and having them have their own movesets and stuff like that. And there's some fun things to be had. Like, there's a spinning kick with the spear, which can kick people off of ledges and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I just felt like I didn't really need to use any of these weapons. Like the spear people, you can just perfect parry them and kill them. The guys with the kunais, you can just perfect parry them and kill them. The guys with the double scythes, they just perfect parry them, kill them. The big guys just dodge out of the way of their attack and then kill them. There's not much in practice going on that I feel like deserves to have or just makes me want to pull out the multiple weapons, even during boss fights and stuff like that. I just felt like it was more of a hamper to pull out the new weapon than to just keep the katana out and keep doing my perfect parry strategy, which worked throughout the entire game. So there's really no problems there. It was just like by the end of the game, I was just kind of going through the motions. And I guess it's a bit of a blessing that the final 2 chapters of the game are literally like an hour in total. But it's also a bit of a disappointment. It's a bit of a bad thing for the game too. So while you're going through the first chapter, like you kill the spider. No, not the spider. You kill the first guy, the snake, which was the opening scene. Then you kill the fire wielding guy. Then you kill the kitsune, and it's like that's the end of chapter 1. And that took me like 20 hours to get to the end of chapter 1. And I know that I was doing a lot of exploration. I was doing a lot of side missions, a lot of bounties and stuff like that. So it's not like it would have taken me 20 hours. But at the end of the day, it took me quite a long time to get through, maybe even more like 25 hours to get through chapter 1, just because I was doing all this like exploration. Once I got to the winter area, I really did not like the winter area, so I was just kind of like trying to rush through that. I didn't really finish up all the quests in that area either because I was annoyed by the entire area itself, and I was also annoyed by the enemies in the area and all the puzzles in the area too. I just felt like a lot of it was just like the same thing over and over again of turn this statue the right way and light this lantern and blah blah blah. And I just was like, come on, like can we just like move on from this, please? And when I did move on from it, chapter 2 came around. And I mean, I don't even remember what even happened in chapter 2. Like, it was just such a quick chapter. You go to the castle. You're doing some things in the open world. The army Saito's army attacked the area, and you're hunting down the spider and his brother, and blah blah blah. And then chapter 3 comes around. So all that I just talked about probably took me about an hour to do in total. Like I was even doing like some of the side mission stuff for the guy with the rifle you meet in that area and some of the side stuff. But for the most part, it took me about an hour for that area. And then chapter 3 really just had nothing to it at all. You rescue your brother and I don't want to spoil anything, but you rescue your brother and the other person, and then you go and face Saito, and that's pretty much it. And that's like another hour of gameplay. So by the time that I was at like 25 hours at the end of chapter 1. By the time I was rolling credits, I was at like 27, 20 maybe 28 hours, and I was like, that just doesn't feel right. That there is a very distinct pacing issue with this game. Like that should not happen. Like I don't remember that happening in Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I felt like that game was pretty evenly paced throughout the entire experience. And there was also, like, the tiers. You went from, like, the first area to the second area to the third area. So, like, the progression feels natural. And you're going through these areas and clearing out the raiding forces. And with Ghost of Yotei, because Lord Saito has all the areas and blah, 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 he's fighting the Matsumai samurai clan and whatever, you're kind of like, you go up to one area, and then you have to like go back and go to the next area, and then there's an area above that area, and then you go back to the main area and go down, and it's like, I don't know, like I feel like it's just a really shattered kind of experience there. So yeah, I mean, even though the map was gorgeous and it had a lot of the things to do, I thought the layout of the map was a bit annoying, and especially annoyed when it came to that winter area. I thought the winter area was just like really poorly designed, in my opinion, of course. But yeah, that second and third chapter, they felt really rushed, and the story beats in those sections in chapter 2 and 3 were just kind of your usual story beats. Like there was really nothing crazy happening. I really felt like they kind of butchered Atsu's character a bit in the game, where, and I get it, like character progression and all that, but pretty much when chapter 2 started and you got like the main plot point of, oh, my brother has a daughter, Atsu's character literally just changes in a snap. Like they're like, I'm not joking when she realizes that she has a niece, and all of a sudden she's like, well, actually, I don't want to die at the end of all this. And it's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen at the end of the game. And yeah, it just kind of does exactly what you expected to do, which was just so disappointing for me because Ghost of Tsushima kept you guessing kind of all the way through. And of course, it did have some of those more general plot points of like, oh, your Ronin sidekick character betrays you. Like, it was more, it's based off of Japanese movies and stuff like that, so it's not going to be the most original thing ever. But with Ghost of Yotei, I was really expecting it to be like this journey of revenge from start to finish, and like the impact that revenge has on the character. And I almost wonder if they had cold feet of making her have this like revenge storyline all the way through because of what happened with The Last of Us Part 2, and they tried to do the whole revenge narrative there. But in all honesty, like obviously the ending of Last of Us Part 2 maybe. A lot of people would say that it is worse than what happens with Atsu and Ghost of Yotei, but also at the same time, like the story change and the character change is just so dramatic and so instant. It really does feel like that final section of Last of Us Part 2 where Ellie is literally strangling Abby underwater, and all of a sudden Ellie's like, you know what? I don't want to kill you, and just lets her go. Like it's almost the same thing here. I mean, the character change is not as dramatic or snap judgment, but it does feel that way with how short chapter 2 and 3 are. You're pretty much doing like these missions with the niece, and it's like, well, I wonder what's going to happen, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. I was not shocked, I was not sad, I was not anything. And also, like at the end of the game, Atsu's like, I don't even want to kill the Yotei 6 anymore. And what happens? She just does it anyway. Like, I was like, if you're gonna do this whole thing where Atsu's having a change in character, like, just like maybe have the twist be that she lets Lord Saito go, or her and Lord Saito have common ground and they decide to accept their differences and walk away. Like where is the true character development when she just fights Saito anyway and she kills him anyway? Well, it's because it's the main villain of the story. Sure, yes, but also at the same time, like, Atsu has had this character growth and this character change. As quick as it is, it's still a character change and a character growth. She lets 2 of the Yotei 6 live. Okay, I know I'm getting into spoiler territory, but that's the thing here. That she has gone from I must kill everyone, I'm going to do anything I can to kill the Yotei 6, to actually, you know what? I'm not so angry at you. Actually, you know what? I see your side of the story. I'm going to let you live and live on and move on with your life. And it's like, okay, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point when you just kill the rest of them anyway? Like, there's really no character growth or character change when you just do the thing you set out to do anyway. Yeah. Okay. So I know I'm a bit annoyed and I'm pushing here. But at the same time, like, I just want to reiterate, it is a fine sequel. Like, it's a good sequel. It does what it sets out to do. I think for the most part, it's got some fun combat in there. It's got decent story in there up until a point. It just felt a bit rushed at the end, and there were things that I kind of disagreed with the story side of things. While also at the same time having an annoying area that I did not like. I don't think there was any annoying area in the first game at all. And I just felt like the game just didn't have as good of a flow as Ghost of Tsushima. And that's the thing. When I'm comparing Ghost of Yotei to Ghost of Tsushima, it's an apt comparison because these games are one and the same. They are sequels to each other. And when Ghost of Tsushima does a lot of things that are, it's more cinematic, it has more flow to it, the story hits a little bit close, a little bit harder, even though it's obviously a bit fabricated in there because I've talked about this before, but the samurai actually did not dissuade people from doing like dishonorable things, quote unquote, by like stealth killing enemies and stuff like that. Like, that actually wasn't a thing. But for the story and for the plot, like, yeah, it's a good plot point to have that sort of thing going on. To compare the two games, it's an apt comparison, and I just feel like Ghost of Tsushima just does things better. And I gave Ghost of Tsushima a 4.5 out of 5, and I just feel like Ghost of Yotei is a bit of a step down from everything that Ghost of Tsushima does, while also having these elements that I just didn't enjoy as much as Ghost of Tsushima, which is why I gave it a step down at a 3.5 out of 5. Still decent, still a good game, but at the same time, just not meeting what Ghost of Tsushima had already. And it's not like I didn't like Atsu. I thought Atsu was fine. I liked the characters that she met and interacted with, but also at the same time, a lot of characters felt a bit hollow because you kind of talk to them once and then there's really no reason to talk to them again. Like the little kid who sells you things, like I bought his whole stock and I was like, do I really need to talk to this guy ever again? No, not really. The bounty board guy was cool. I liked him. And there was a couple of characters you meet here and there that, like Mad Goro, like I liked. But that was when the campaign was more fleshed out, and then once chapter 2 comes around, you kind of stop meeting new characters. You stop, meeting fun characters, and everything gets, just kind of changes. So yeah, that's about it. 3.5 out of 5. I think it's still worth playing and worth your time. But these are just my thoughts. And I'm sure that there's some people out there who like the game a lot more than Ghost of Tsushima, and that's fine. That's valid. That's fine. But it's just my opinion. So yeah, check the game out if you want to. I'm finished with it. I really don't feel the need to go back and try and 100% the game because I just really was going through the motions towards the end of it. Maybe after a while, maybe I'll jump back in and play it again. But at this point, I probably won't get back to it for a while, if at all. It's going to be another long one, folks.
Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I've been playing more of this game, and I haven't played as much as I want to because I was trying to get Ghost of Yotei finished up this week, and then also Black Ops 7 came out, and I was like, well, I kind of just have to play through this to talk about it because I knew I was going to have a lot to say about that. But yeah, Age of Imprisonment is actually really fun. I almost like it better than Dynasty Warriors Origins that came out at the beginning of the year, which is kind of crazy to say because Dynasty Warriors Origins was a lot of fun and I enjoyed that a lot. But Age of Imprisonment just has some special things to it that I was kind of missing or was kind of missing from not Hyrule Warriors, Dynasty Warriors. But at the same time, I think that Dynasty Warriors is still really good. Don't get me wrong. I think Age of Imprisonment is also very good. Now, the story beat's not like super interesting, but I like the characters that you meet in the game. I am enjoying the combat a lot. Like even though it doesn't have like the parry move like Dynasty Warriors Origins, it still has like some really cool combo systems that you can do. Special moves as well, team up moves and stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff that is in Dynasty Warriors, but just kind of like Zelda-ified, kind of cartoonified a little bit, which I just feel like is just so good so far. And I like the whole imprisonment war type angle. Having to defeat enemies in Hyrule and take back territory has been a lot of fun. They've also been upping the amount of characters in the game. I mean, I know a lot of the characters are just kind of like goofy or not goofy, but like side character who maybe you don't care to use. But there are a lot of characters who have really fun, unique move sets. I mentioned last week that one of a YouTuber that I follow voices one of the characters. His character is actually very unique. He plays as a little Korok guy with like almost like a fedora type hat on, and he like throws bombs and stuff like that. And his moveset is very unique compared to a lot of the other characters. There's also another character who just like has constructs pop up when she's fighting. And that's also a very unique moveset. Like I really like that as well. So there's a lot of cool characters to find in the game and play with, and I'm sure I'll be finding more as I go on. Obviously, I'm not like super far into the game yet, but I'm far enough where I'm starting to get a good group of characters going. And I also like the idea of the whole campsite thing where you build a camp and you boost your character. It has the same elements as a Dynasty Warriors game that you want, where it's like taking over territory and then moving on to the next territory. And like I said before or last week, you can send your allies to a base to start fighting and then control them. Instead of having to run everywhere, you can just control them and or switch to them and use them. I think I forgot to mention last week, but there are certain special moves that you can use to negate enemy moves. So, like if they're doing a charge attack, you'll do a forward-facing special move, and that'll knock them out for a second. You can do some extra damage on them. Or if they're doing like a jumping attack, you do an upward-facing attack. There's also these gadgets that you take out, the little constructs you take out, like a fan. And if they're doing a projectile attack, you can actually use the fan to blow the projectiles back at the enemy and do damage there. Or if they're covered in muck, which actually boosts their stuff, you can take out a fire hydrant and use water to hose them off, and that'll actually do some damage as well. So lots of cool things in there mixed in. And yeah, I'm just like really enjoying the game. Like I wasn't expecting to be like this into it, and because it's on the Switch 2 and that's downstairs, I don't really spend a lot of time, outside of like maybe at the end of the day, like sitting on the couch downstairs. I like to be at the computer desk here, but I don't want to move the Switch 2 upstairs because I would rather play it with the 4K TV downstairs and the surround sound and stuff like that. So, it's one of those things where it's like I play it, gingerly here and there. But what I have played though has been really fun. I'm actually really enjoying my time with the game, and I know there's some people who maybe they're more interested in the story or whatever. Me personally, like the story elements are just kind of there for me. Like as a person who's not really that big of a Legend of Zelda fan, I think I've only finished like 2 Legend of Zelda games in my lifetime. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like the story is just there. It's fine. I'm not skipping the story like some people are, but I could see maybe getting annoyed with it. And there was a video that I watched where the person was like, yeah, they're just kind of like going over the story beats from Tears of the Kingdom, and I never played Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't know how much of the story beats are shown in Tears of the Kingdom. But with that in mind, it's like, okay, I get it. Like I get like skipping around some of these story beats, some of the fluff that's in the game, because the major plot points are in Tears of the Kingdom, but they're expanded upon in Age of Imprisonment. Once again, I don't know, but I can only go off of what other people have told me. But I think at the end of the day, like the gameplay for Age of Imprisonment is great. I really enjoy the combo system. I really enjoy the special moves. I do like the characters. I think the characters are actually quite fun to play with and switch between during the game. And that's like the most major thing for a Dynasty Warriors type game is like gameplay and the different characters with their different movesets. I think that's really the main thing that really elevates a Dynasty Warriors game. And in Age of Imprisonment, it just feels great. I'm enjoying my time with it, and you might too. I probably won't talk about it again until I finish it. I don't think the game is overly long, and I do think that I'm getting pretty close to maybe like a halfway point or something like that. But at the same time, I'm just enjoying my time and going with the flow. You know, I'm not trying to do anything super quickly. There's also been some pretty cool boss fights in the game too. Like there's a whole section where you're using this construct that's awakened by the Korok character, and you do like this whole flying section on the floating islands. And there's like a boss fight there that was actually really good. I was actually like hyped while playing it. So I'm hoping for more sections like that. Just be warned, if you're playing main missions, some of the main missions start with like a section where you're, doing the basic Warriors type thing, and then there's like a cutscene. It's like, okay, so the level's ending here. And then it just keeps going. Like there's another boss fight, or maybe they go into the section with another character or whatever. So just be warned, if you're like, oh, I'll just do one more level, maybe make it a side mission instead of a main mission, because the main missions can sometimes go on for a bit longer than you might expect. That's my only thing to say there. For the most part, really enjoying Age of Imprisonment. And I can't wait to play more of it and talk to you guys about that when it's all done. All right, folks, Bunger Month. Yes, Bunger Month is still going. We are nearing the end of our first list of games here. We're actually playing the last game that's been recommended by a unique person, which is Black Ops 2. But we played 2 more games this past week, and finished them in honor of Bunger, one of the best character designs in video game history. And one of those games was Crysis 3. And going into Crysis 3, I guess I really didn't have expectations other than like, it looks cool. The cover of the game looks cool. It's the guy with the bow and arrow on it. And I went into this game knowing that I'm not a huge Crysis fan. I tried to play Crysis 1, the remastered version. Didn't really get far in that. Back in the day, I tried to play Crysis 2. Once again, didn't really play much of it. Didn't really enjoy it. So Crysis 3 going into it, I'm like, it looks cool. Maybe it'll have a cool concept. Maybe it'll have some cool things going on. And there was some cool things in there, don't get me wrong. But for a majority of the game, I kind of was just blasting my way through things when it didn't really want me to do that. It set up all these stealth situations, and it's like they give you the bow and arrow, they give you the camouflage ability, but the game's stealth mechanics are not really, they don't really work that well. So like I'll shoot a bow and arrow at a guy who's like all the way off in the corner of the room, no one can see them, and I even use the cloaking ability at the same time. And so like another character on like the right side of the building will be like, huh, and they'll start shooting me. Like they'll literally just start like, no, they just know where I am and start blasting at me. And it's like, okay, that's kind of bullshit. So at the end of the day, when the stealth section started popping up, I just started to, I would use the bow and arrow at the start, but then I would just give up and start going guns blazing. I mean, the game is very short for what it is. I think it's like 7 levels long, which I think is a bit disappointing, especially if you're a fan of these games. I think I looked it up. Crysis 1 had like 14 missions, and Crysis 2 had like 30-something missions, so it's a real downgrade from what you have been playing in the past. Like, I get the levels are maybe a bit more open here and there, but for the most part, there's really not much going on with these levels and with this game. And when you take a look at it from a distance, like it's a cool concept, this overgrown version of New York, and this like company is taken over and they're trying to use the alien technology to improve their weaponry and stuff like that. Like that's all cool, but a lot of the aesthetics of the game don't really matter because you're just like going from room to room shooting enemies, or maybe there's a bit of an open section, but it's just kind of like in a plain, like an open field or whatever. It wasn't really until the end of the game that the aesthetics started to really wow me with like the decrepit buildings and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it was just like fine. There really wasn't anything going on that I thought was extraordinary. I thought the gameplay was pretty shallow. I thought the upgrade system was kind of annoying. I thought the level design was pretty basic. The boss encounters were just kind of like meh. The ending of the game was just kind of like eh. Like there really wasn't anything in here that I thought was extraordinarily fun or anything like that. Yeah, it's just one of those things where yeah, I played the game and it was like an experience, and it's one that I will not play again. And at this point, I don't even know if I want to purchase the other Crysis games, just because like this one was just kind of like just like a big bleh. I ended up giving Crysis 3 a 2 out of 5. And to round it all out, we played Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP, which is, of course, the remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw from back in the day on the Xbox 360. It originally came out in 2013 or 2012. 2012? Yeah, whatever. And, I mean, look, Lollipop Chainsaw, say what you want about, like, what they do in the game with, like, the story and the characters and whatnot. The gameplay is there. The gameplay is super fun. Using that chainsaw to kill zombies and special zombies and stuff like that. Having the new attachments for it, like a gun attachment and stuff like that, like it's all cool. The combo system works well, especially once you start buying more moves for that combo system. The shop and stuff like that also sells you upgrades for your character, which is great, really fun there. And then it also sells you costumes for Juliet, the main character of the game. And the main character of the game who just freshly turned 18. So none of the overly sexualized costumes are wrongful, folks. Like she's 18 in the game. She's 18. I mean, it just makes me a bit uncomfortable when it's like, it's a Suda 51 game. Like I get it. Like it's a bit wild and out there. For a lot of their games. This one just felt. I mean, I know it's a parody of like DMC and No More Heroes and stuff like that. I get that, but at the same time, you're gonna like super overly sexualize this young girl, like 18, just turning 18, like. That's weird. Like to have like there's one outfit that's just like 2 seashells over her nipples and a thong, and it's like I don't know about this. Like I don't know about this. So at the end of the day, I decided to use lesser revealing outfits just because it was making me a bit uncomfortable, especially when streaming the game too. And I have no problem with sexuality and like whatever. Like I have no problem with that, but it was a bit awkward because they forced that narrative so hard. It's my birthday. It's my 18th birthday. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. It's a little creepy. I get the idea. I get it. So that kind of was a little bit off-putting there. It doesn't really affect the game too much, but it's there it's kind of like nagging in the back of the mind there. But there was a lot of fun story elements in the game, a lot of fun character interactions, some really good line deliveries in there as well. Which they didn't like the RePOP version didn't really change anything with the story and elements and stuff like that, which I do appreciate. They kept the game intact as it was. The thing that they did change, and you can actually choose to not use this version of the game. The RePOP version like reduces blood and effects and stuff like that, and it turns it into like sparkles instead of blood. And I was like, no, we don't need that. So I put it on the original mode, which shows blood and gore and stuff like that. So that was good. The boss fights in the game are fun. Most of them are fun. There's like 2 boss fights that I didn't enjoy: the final boss fight and the boss fight with the guy who's like the funk guy. He's in the UFO. Other than that, though, I thought the other boss fights were really good. I had a lot of fun doing those. The other thing about the game that kind of irked me was the fact that they kept mislabeling genres of music. Like they called the funk guy pop, and I was like, no, this is literally like funk R&B. Like what the fuck is going on? They called there was like this guy who was punk, and they were calling him like rock and roll. And I'm like, no, he's punk. Like it's literally the aesthetic you're going for, Sex Pistols aesthetic. And then there was another boss in the game that was like death metal. He had like the white face paint and the black lines on his face, and they were calling him like rock as well. And I was like, no, this guy's like, he's death metal. What are you talking about? And the dumb thing is at the end of the game when you're fighting the guy who is like rock and roll or what, the rock guy, they're calling him metal. So it's like, why are like, come on, we can't like, come on. I'm a person who is really into metal and punk and stuff like that, and it's just like it just irks me a bit with the mislabeling of these genres. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's whatever at the end of the day, but it's also like kind of annoying while you're playing through the game. So yeah. But I mean, I think most of the levels are pretty fun to go through. Besides from the farm one, I thought the farm level was kind of annoying, but all the other levels were fun to go through. There was fun things to find and people to save. You save like the students. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good aesthetics in there. It's fun. And at the end of the day, it's a Suda 51 game. But the unfortunate thing is that Suda 51 did not have anything to do with this remaster and re-release of the game. I believe the IP Lollipop Chainsaw is owned by another company, so Suda 51 had nothing to do with it. He did do the remaster for that. What was it called? Shadows of the Damned. It's actually sitting over there still from when I showed it off. Shadows of the Damned, that he did have everything to do with that. And he is working on a new game called Romeo is a Dead Man, which I'm actually pretty excited for now after replaying Lollipop Chainsaw, because I played Lollipop Chainsaw back in the day, back when had the Xbox 360 and all that stuff. And I mean, I still do have an Xbox 360, but when it was new, everything was fresh. And it was one of those games where I was like playing it around when my parents were home because I knew that it was like really sexual. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the gameplay is there though. Like, back in the day when you're in high school, it's like, oh, Juliet, oh, she has big boobs and a big ass, and yeah, it's like, yeah, but nowadays I'm more appreciative of the combat and the aesthetics of the game and just how it all plays. And if that's what you care about, I think you'll have a good time with the game too. If you want the sexual stuff, it's there for you. It's there. It's on a platter. It's like, hey, it's on a get 30 platinum coins and you can literally see her naked. Like that's pretty much it. Much like the game Onichambra Z or whatever it was called that I played back in the day, at least Juliet does not look like she's 16 or 15. Like, at least she looks like a adult. Like, she looks 18 or 19 years old. With the Onichambra game, or Onichambra, whatever it's called, like, 2 of the characters looked of age. 1 character did not look of age at all, and they also had revealing outfits for her. And when I actually got that outfit unlocked in the game, because you kind of just unlock them as you go through, I literally put the game down and sold it. I was like, this makes me uncomfortable. This is so weird. At least with Lollipop Chainsaw, it is a little bit creepy that she's just turned 18, but at least she looks her age. And, that's one positive spin that I can put on the game. I don't endorse over-sexualizing women or teenagers or whatever, but at the same time, like, at least she looks her age, and at least they clarify that she is 18. So, at least that's there. So anyway, at the end of the day, I gave this game a 3.5 out of 5, and I'll probably replay it sometime in the future. Let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. Okay, Steam, aka Valve, has introduced new hardware onto the gaming scene coming in 2026. Now, we all know the Steam Deck is a pretty good system. I don't play mine a lot per se, but what I did play on it was good. I thought that the Steam Deck worked really well, and it was a pretty nice system, all things considered. So in 2026, we're going to be having 3 new Valve Steam optimized things for gaming. One of them is the Steam Machine. It looks like a GameCube, I'm not going to lie. It's very cube-like, and it does have like that GameCube aesthetic on it. But essentially what this is it is a pretty much a PC that just has a Steam operating system on it, and it has 2 USB ports in the front, and I believe a USB-C as well. It has an interchangeable faceplate on it, and essentially it's just a big box that you can play your Steam library on. Because it is a Windows system, you will be able to play things from other. You could install like Xbox Game Pass on it, I'm pretty sure, and stuff like that. So there are other ways to play as well. It has Bluetooth functionality as well, and all that stuff too. The core features for the Steam Machine: the Steam OS optimized for gaming, small form factor. You can put it under your TV or set it next to your desk. It is cool and quiet. The Steam Machine keeps cool and runs whisper quiet even when running the most demanding games. I/O for days, ready for all peripherals and monitors you can throw at it. 1 gigabyte Ethernet to DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0, 1 USB-C, and 4 USB-A ports. CPU and GPU, you get 4K gaming and at 60 FPS with FSR thanks to a discrete semi-custom AMD desktop class CPU and GPU. It has 512 gigabytes of standard storage, or you can get the more advanced version or whatever for 2 terabytes of storage. And it also comes with an expandable storage slot, micro SD slot. Connectivity, 2x2 Wi-Fi 6E plus Bluetooth 5.3 with a dedicated antenna. The Steam controller is wireless, has an adapter for it built right into it. Power, it just has a regular power supply built in, so nothing really crazy there either. So yeah, I mean, this looks very good. This looks like a great system. Now, am I going to pick this up? Probably not. You know, I built my computer from the ground up. Like, I don't need the Steam machine, but if you do not have a gaming computer or whatever, I think this would be a great option for you to use. But I also think that, like, just having a PC in general is probably better at this point than having a specific peripheral from Steam. But once again, for maybe for the people who need it, it's there, and I think that it looks like the specs on this thing look good in general. So there's that. Also, the Steam controller. There's a new Steam controller coming out. If you don't recall, there was a Steam controller that came out back in the day, which was really weird. It had like the touch pads instead of joysticks and stuff like that. Just a bit of a weird thing. I never bought it myself. This new one is kind of modeled like a PS4 or a PS5 controller, where the joysticks are kind of horizontal to each other and the buttons and the D-pad are above the joysticks. But then the controller is a little bit longer than usual because it does have those touch pads on it too. So if you want to use the touch pads, you can. Maybe for like mouse-controlled gaming or RTS games or something like that, you can use the touch pads on there, which, you know, is fine. You know, I mean, I don't mind it. It is a bit weird, though. It does look a bit weird. It also has reprogrammable buttons on the back, and R5, R4, R3, and R2 buttons, or whatever they're calling them. Those are all on the back as well. There's a Steam button in the middle to go back to the Steam webpage anytime you want to, blah, blah, blah. You can either choose to plug in the controller and play, or you can use it wirelessly. It also has a charger connected to a specific charger connected to it as well. The magnetic thumbsticks on the controller uses TMR technology and designed for improved feel, responsiveness, and long-term reliability. It has high-definition rumble built in, and the grip is gyro-enabled. Ooh, oh boy. Plus, it has all the other things you can expect from it: motion control, grip buttons, a Steam button, a quick access menu, which you can customize, trackpads, and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, in general, the controller looks goofy, but it does seem to be a good controller. Like, it does seem to have what you kind of want in there for a controller. I just think that, like, the whole form factor is just a bit goofy in my opinion. Like the whole touchpad thing on the bottom, yeah, it doesn't aesthetically look pleasing, but it does look like it's going to be a good controller in general. And then finally, there is the new Steam VR headset coming out. You can actually play VR and non-VR in this headset, which is kind of a standard thing around the VR landscape. It is a wireless headset built for comfort. The main marketing campaign for this has like an older woman wearing the headset and looking very happy while wearing it, of course. But the headset is lightweight and compact. It's well balanced front to rear. It has a wireless adapter and dual radios. It includes a plug-and-play 60 gigahertz wireless adapter, which provides a link for both VR and non-VR streaming. It also has foveated streaming, which is a new feature that optimizes detail where your eyes are looking and typically offers over a 10 times improvement in image quality and effective bandwidth, which is kind of cool. There is camera tracking built in, so you don't need to set up any other convoluted things for this one. You can pretty much just jump right in by wearing the headset and then taking it off. I think it just recognizes when you're wearing it. And then it also has thin and light custom pancake lenses, which provide edge-to-edge sharpness. It features 2160 by 2160 LCD panels, one per eye, with a refresh rate that's about 72 to 144 hertz per second. It also has a seamless audio experience with dual speakers inside of the headset as well. And then there's also the VR controllers, which do feature the magnetic thumbsticks of the controller itself and the regular Steam integration as well. Pretty much all the things that you can get for the game. There's also easily accessed batteries. You can replace AA batteries, which will offer 40 hours of playtime. And yeah, the one thing about the hand, like the controllers you hold, there's no straps on them, which maybe they're just not showing them in the marketing right now, but it just seems like a bit of a liability there to not have a strap on the controllers. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So yeah, I mean, the new Steam hardware looks good. The one thing that I am actually interested in getting is the Steam VR headset. I'll see what the price is and decide what I want to do with that. But essentially, I've been thinking of getting the Steam headset for a bit because the PSVR 2 is just not really supported like I was hoping for, and my Oculus is still the original Oculus, so I can't even play like the newer games on there. And maybe that Batman Arkham VR game will come to Steam in the future, which would be really cool. If that happens, then I'd probably be a shoo-in to get this Steam headset. But as it is, cool hardware. You know, the Steam Deck is a good piece of hardware, so like that already like gives me some hope for the console and all the other things in general. And we'll see what happens. And let me know in the comments below if you are interested in any of the new Steam hardware. I'd like to know. Or check out the Discord. Link in the description. All right. So this episode is going to come out on the day that the Game Awards are announcing their nominees. So next week I will talk about that. But if you want to know, on November 17th, the Game Awards will announce their nominees for the 2025 award show, and that'll be live streamed on Twitch and YouTube and other places at noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, and 5 p.m. GMT. Set your reminders now. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't appreciate them doing this during the day because I would like to actually live react to this. I think that it's something that I am passionate about. Every year I talk about the Game Awards and the announcements and the nominees, and I also love to shit on them because they do this stuff way too early. There are games coming out in December, and I think those games deserve to be nominated for, or they could deserve to be nominated for the award show, but they have this cutoff point of like November 15th or whatever when games are available to be nominated, and then any game that comes out in December is just forgotten about for the next year. It's just a poor system in my opinion, and a lot of these presentations, a lot of these showcases do this, where whether it be the Golden Joystick Awards or the indie games that I'll talk about next, they do this stuff early, and it's because of the Christmas season, the holiday season. They want to put these videos out and these reviews out and these whatever's out to sell games. I get it, but at the end of the day, like, is it really an award show for 2025 games when half of the games don't even show up? You know what I'm saying? Or I guess like a whole month's worth of games don't even show up. Not half the games, but a month worth of games don't show up or have no presence there. And you might be wondering, Yummy, what do you think will be the 6 games that are nominated for the Game Awards for the Game of the Year? And I think definitely Expedition 33 is going to be in there. Silk Song will be in there for sure. I think Death Stranding 2 will get a nod. My hopeful one is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think that is maybe going to be a bit of an under-the-radar game this year at the Game Awards, but we'll see. I could also see either Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza being on there. I don't think both of them will be on there, but one of those will, I feel. And then a lot of people are saying Hades 2, and I do say, like, yeah, Hades 2 or Split Fiction could be on here as well. I think that those are 2 games that definitely could be on there. I don't think we'll see Silent Hill. I don't think we'll see Battlefield. I don't think we'll see Dispatch, even though a lot of people really love that game. I don't think we'll see Dispatch. Maybe for something else, though. We'll possibly see Ghost of Yotei. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure, though. There was actually a lot of really good games that came out this year, and it's going to be a difficult year to decide, which game is going to be on my top 10, let alone the top 6 here for the Game Awards. So, Yeah, on Monday we'll see what happens. I'm sure by the time that you've listened to this on Monday or maybe after Monday, you'll already know what the games are. And like I said, I will talk about the nominees next week and we'll go into detail about those. Last year I had a lot of issues with a lot of the games that they Randy, stop. Stop. Randy's over here like licking vigorously his pee, being a distraction once again on the podcast. What was I saying? I had some criticism for the things that they nominated for these awards, and a lot of them were like games or DLCs or whatever that came out before during the time when they cut the cutoff period, like the Diablo DLC and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens this year. There's no Elden Ring DLC being nominated for Game of the Year, or maybe being nominated for Game of the Year. So we'll see. Another one that's a bit of a newer one is Arc Raiders is showing up on a lot of people's lists. I can't see that winning Game of the Year. I also don't see that getting nominated for Game of the Year. I know there's been a bit of a controversy surrounding Arc Raiders. A couple of big YouTubers were like, "Oh, this should win Game of the Year," blah blah blah. And multiplayer games never win Game of the Year, except Overwatch won Game of the Year in 2016. I also think that, like, in general, like, multiplayer games, maybe they don't win Game of the Year because single player games are just much better crafted games. And I'm not saying that to shit on multiplayer games. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, even me personally, when I play a game, a lot of the best games of the year are those single player games. And I get it if you only play multiplayer games, or if Arc Raiders truly is the next best, greatest game ever. I just compare it to Expedition 33 or any other game that might be nominated, like Death Stranding. It just doesn't really hold a candle to the level of ingenuity, graphical fidelity, acting, etc. Like, Arc Raiders uses AI voices. Like, I don't think that's going to be winning any voice acting awards. Like, there's more layers to a single player experience than there are to a multiplayer experience. Because a lot of multiplayer games, they're just the multiplayer. They do what they do. Maybe they do it well, but maybe they're not. They're just not well-rounded experiences, right? And look at Helldivers 2 last year. It wasn't nominated for Game of the Year. Maybe could have been nominated for Game of the Year, but there was 5 other games that came out. Well, 4 other games that came out last year, or 5. Maybe 5 is the right number because there's 6 nominees. So yeah, there's 5 other games that came out last year that I felt like deserved to be on there over Helldivers, with the DLC being the exception there. So maybe they could have put Helldivers 2 on there. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's whatever. I think that single player games are going to dominate over multiplayer games in most facets, and it's going to be more of a rare exception to have a multiplayer game win Game of the Year, because single player games they're more of a full package. They have more going on, and they're up for more awards. So we shall see what happens. Let's move on. All right, the Indie Game Awards. This is going to be, the nominations are available. The full stream for the award show will be on December 18th at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I probably won't live stream this, and I might not even talk about this again, because I've never heard of this, but it was in my feed, and I was like, you know what? All right, I guess I'll talk about this a little bit. So there's a couple of categories here with indie games in here. A lot of these indie games I didn't really even know about. There's some that obviously are big, but a lot of these games I kind of didn't even go across my radar, and I'm pretty big into the indie game scene. The nominees for Game of the Year are as follows: Absalom and Roger, Consume Me, Blueprints, Citizen Sleeper 2, Expedition 33, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Keep Driving, and Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. There are a couple games that I know about on this list, but there are also a couple that I've never heard of, and maybe I'll look them up later. There's a lot of different categories for the Indie Game Showcase: visual design, women-led games, Southeast Asian indie games, solo development games, etc., etc. Like, there's a lot of different categories here that I think are very good categories to have. Music, Latin American games, Black-inspired games, emotional impact games, stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to go through all of these, but here's some of the big ones. So bite-sized games. We have Karimara, Beneath the Forlorn Limbs. Fly Knight, Many Nights as a Whisper. The Dark Queen of Mathrome. This game will end in 205 clicks, and time flies. Black Voice and Video Game Award. We have Advent Neon, Althea, The Wrath of a Fairy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tactical Takedown, Spirit Swap, Lo-Fi Beats, The Match 3-2, Sorry We're Closed, and Sunken Stones. Best Indie Debut Game. We have Clair Obscure, Discounty, Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson, Isla, A Frosty Glide, Sorry We're Closed, and Tyrant's Realm. Games for Emotional Impact, After Love EP, and Roger, Don't Get Your Hopes Up, Henry Halfhead, Wanderstop, and Wednesdays. Gameplay and design, we have Absalom, Ball X Pit, Dawnfolk, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Keep Driving, Look Outside, Ooh, Pepistello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, and The King is Watching. Innovation in indie games, Blueprints, Free Ride, Gas Station Story, PBJ the Musical, Ruffian the Riverside, Terria and Como. Latin American Indie Game Award. We have Despolit, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, Terria and Como, Tormented Souls 2, Adventure of Samarsa, Calubra and the Souls of Limbo. Lots of interesting games here. Music, best music. We have Everhood 2, Hurdling, Rift of the Necrodancer, Sono Kuni, Sword of the Sea, and Wheel World. Best narrative, Citizen Sleeper 2, Kasumi, The Drifter, The Seance of Blake Manor, The Rootress Are Dead, and Promise Mascot Agency. So, like I said, there's a lot of interesting things here. Lots of like indie games that I didn't even know about that are on this list. So pretty cool there. If you want to check out the whole list, it's on the indiegameawards.gg. If you want to check that out. All right, The Elder Scrolls 6 is still many years to go. It's still a long way off. Todd Howard was talking in an interview during like a Fallout thing. They were celebrating 10 years of Fallout and whatnot. He was asked about about The Elder Scrolls 6. And he said that he doesn't want to reveal like how far they are through development or anything like that. He said he's preaching patience for this game, and he doesn't want fans to feel too anxious as they wait for the next RPG to come out. It's already been like 7 years since the game was originally announced with that, that title screen or whatever you want to call it. But he says that work on Elder Scrolls 6 is an everyday thing, and they're working on it alongside other things like Fallout 76 and other projects. But we're getting close to almost 10 years. I mean, maybe the game will be re-announced about 10 years after the original announcement of the game. It just feels like they haven't been working on it as diligently as we thought. Like when Starfield came out, I was like, okay, they're probably going to focus on Elder Scrolls now, right? But no, I mean, they were working on Fallout 76 content, Fallout 4 remaster, and there's apparently a Fallout 3 remaster coming around. And the Oblivion remaster, of course, as well, which was more of a remake. Like, all these things came out, and it's almost like they put the work for Elder Scrolls 6 on the back burner, because when they announced that at the same time as Starfield, like, you kind of expected those games to be kind of working in tandem, like being worked on in tandem. And then once Starfield came out, it's like, okay, let's just put all our work on the Elder Scrolls 6, but that apparently did not happen. So, yeah, I guess we're still a few years out from seeing anything about this game. Even though they reported that there are some play testings going on, but it's probably just like rudimentary stuff, maybe at the most part. I know that like back maybe like a year or two ago, the Skyrim grandma, who was pretty big in the gaming landscape. Well, I guess not big, but she's pretty big Twitch streamer or video maker on YouTube. Whatever. Apparently she was able to see the game and maybe play a little bit of the game. But the one thing she said to Todd Howard, which was pretty funny, was like, hey, can you put this game out before I die? And I know Todd just laughed in a reply, but at the same time, it's like, well, is Skyrim grandma going to be playing games by the time that Elder Scrolls 6 comes out? Like, I know she took a back seat, or she stopped making videos now. So, I mean, it's possible that Skyrim grandma will not see the Elder Scrolls 6, which is kind of sad. And the same thing can be said for like GTA 6, where it's like there's a lot of people waiting for that game, and there's people who are literally dying before GTA 6 comes out, and it might be their most hyped game ever. And unfortunately, life happens, you know. So, you know, with the amount of time it's been taking to make the Elder Scrolls 6, you hope that it's going to be a polished experience. It's going to be what fans want and expect from the series. It's going to be a big open world to explore, lots of RPG elements, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get a reveal soon. Maybe we'll have to wait a little bit for the reveal. But yeah, I feel like at this point, if they're not focusing on Elder Scrolls, I feel like they're missing a lot. They're just missing a lot of opportunity here, especially after Starfield essentially flopped. They need a hit here, and I don't think people are going to be clamoring for Fallout 4 Game of the Year remastered, and I don't think people are clamoring for more Fallout 76 stuff. I mean, I think at this point people are pretty much like done with the game. And you know, the Oblivion remaster is going to tide people over for maybe a little while, but you know, at the same time, like, I didn't even finish that. Like, I was playing it and I was having general fun with it, but I'm like, yeah, I just want to play a new game. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, I've already played a lot of the of Oblivion, but I just want to play I just wanted to play a new iteration of this. Like, come on. But anyway, that is that. Okay, Sony has come out to talk about Bungie. As we know, Bungie is going to be pretty much integrating with PlayStation Studios in general, so they're not going to be their own entity anymore after this like year or so. And they're still working on things in the background like Marathon, and they're still getting updates for Destiny 2 out there. But Sony originally purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion, and Sony has pretty much said like, hey, it's been a loss. It's been a big loss for this. And it's funny that like Bungie hasn't even put out the best live service game for Sony. That's been Helldivers 2, and Helldivers 2 went on. You know, they're on their own now. They're on Xbox. They're doing their own thing. They were able to buy the rights to their game back with how well it did. So Sony literally just does not have a live service game that is profitable for them right now. And, you know, with the Final Shape DLC kind of being a bit of a wet fart when it came out, I don't think people are staying around for Destiny 2. And I mean, Destiny 2's been around for so long at this point. Like, I remember playing that game when I still lived like in my condo. Like, it's been over 7 or so years since Destiny 2 came out. It's just like, why are we still focusing on Destiny 2? Get something new out there, do something new. And yes, they are working on Marathon in the background, but you know, that has its own struggles going on. That was also pushed back and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where it's like this whole Bungie acquisition has been a bit of a train wreck from start to finish. Like Destiny 2, when they bought Bungie, I don't think Destiny 2 was really doing that well. I think there was a lot of DLCs and updates that people did not like. They put out like one good update and Sony buys them. And now Destiny 2 has kind of been just limping along for the rest of its lifespan here. And at the same time, like, they have the Bungie CEO going around to these other studios and going, no, this Last of Us multiplayer game, that's not good. You should cancel that. And like, they have like this guy going around being the voice of the multiplayer and live service experiences. But Destiny 2, as I've talked about many times, Destiny 2 isn't really performing that well anyway. And now we have like a full confirmation by Sony that like things just have not worked out the way that they want it to work out. So in a Q2 financial call, recently, Sony said, regarding Destiny 2, partially due to the changes in the competitive environment, a level of sales and user engagement have not reached the expectations we had at the time of the acquisition of Bungie. While we will continue to make improvements, we downwardly revised the business projection for the time being and recorded an impairment loss against a portion of the assets at Bungie. So they're marking the Bungie acquisition as a loss, and they're, of course, integrating it into PlayStation Studios as a whole. So we'll see what happens in the future, but as of right now, just it's not really looking that good for them. And I think that, like, once again, I think Helldivers 2 is a big thing here. Like, this was a big pushing point for them. With Helldivers 2 and that studio kind of being able to go off on their own, release on Xbox and PC and whatnot, like, Helldivers 2 was able to do massive numbers that Destiny 2 just is not doing anymore. And it makes sense. Destiny 2 is an old game. It's old news. And any new DLC coming out to this live service game is just not really getting people back to playing it. And I've seen the reviews of these DLCs, and I hate everything as a big Destiny enjoyer, and he makes a video for every single one of these DLCs that launch, and the disappointment from him is immeasurable. There's really no positive feedback at all throughout any of these DLCs that have released for this game. So it's very unfortunate, and this is also another symptom of like Sony trying to do more live service stuff, more multiplayer games, which we'll talk about some more things coming out in the next section. But yeah, I mean, I just think that Sony's kind of going the wrong way and investing too much money into these live service games. They already took a massive loss with Concord. Helldivers 2 was very successful, but it does not make up for the fact that they lost like millions, maybe even billions of dollars with Concord and what they hoped that Concord was going to be. And Marathon might be the same way. It might come out and there might be nothing of value to Marathon, and people might play it for a month and then drop off of it. It's very likely and a possible thing that could happen. So, I mean, Sony still is working on, original IPs and single player experiences too, but they are investing a bit too much money into the multiplayer aspects and multiplayer games, and they've already canceled so many of them in the background. There's a God of War game that was canceled, a Last of Us game that was canceled, and now with all the problems going on with Marathon and Destiny 2 just not doing anything right now, yeah, and being marked as a loss doesn't surprise me at all. So there you go. All right, Nintendo has gone back on their word, which is very disappointing. So what do I mean by this? Recently there was a Pokemon Pokopia video that came out. They revealed that the game is coming March 5th, 2026. Not too bad. But what they did was they had this game key card Nintendo Switch 2 video that came out almost right after the reveal of the release date, and it showed Pokemon Pokopia, which has honestly one of the worst names ever. They showed that it was a game key card. It was a quick guide to game key cards, and they showed that Pokemon Pokopia was going to be a game key card. And this isn't obviously confirmed yet because the game isn't out or isn't in that stage yet. But to have the game be the sample for what a game key card is pretty. It's a bit of a backstab for the people who were like, well, me personally, I'm like me right here, me. I was saying oh, it's good that Nintendo first party games are all going to be on the game, fully on the cartridges. There's not going to be any game key cards for first party Nintendo games. This is a first party Nintendo game, whether it's actually being developed by Nintendo or not. This is Pokemon is a first party Nintendo IP. This should be fully on cartridge, but no, it's on a game key card, and they use this game as the example for what differentiates a game from a game key card. So it's really disappointing to me personally that Nintendo has just kind of gone back on their word here. I don't care if this game is being developed by Bandai Namco. It's still, Pokemon is a Nintendo franchise, is a Nintendo IP. It should be fully on cartridge. Also, the other thing is the game is apparently going to be 10 gigabytes. So Nintendo might also be feeling the burn from not having enough variants of the game cards out. They probably looked at it just like any third party looked at it and said, $18 for a 10 gigabyte game to be put onto a 64 gigabyte cartridge, that's not really a good sales tactic. Let's just put it onto a game key card. What are you doing? What are you actually doing here? You're just proving my point over and over again that you need to have different varieties, different versions of regular game cartridges. Put out a 15 gigabyte game cartridge. This would solve so many of the issues going on right now with the whole Switch 2 market. But no, instead of doing that, they go, people won't mind if we put our games onto a game key card, will they? Yes, I very much do mind that. As a person who wanted to get every first party Switch 2 game, I'm not going to get this one. I was going to get it. Now I'm not going to get it, especially because I think they're selling this game for fucking $70 as well, which is kind of crazy too. But this does bother me. It bothers me a lot. I think that if Nintendo didn't say originally hey, we're not going to be doing game key cards for our first party releases, I wouldn't be as shocked. But this is actually very shocking to me because it's pretty much them going back on their word. And I know, big big company, corporation going back on their word. Wow, yummy, shocking. I think this is shocking. I think this is kind of shocking because Nintendo has been doing a lot of things that are kind of flaky recently, and this was one of the things that I could stand by and be like, well, at least Metroid Prime 4 isn't going to be on a game key card. At least any new Nintendo release is not going to be on a game key card. And I can't even say that anymore. I can't even say that anymore, which is just so annoying. It's so disappointing. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if this is actually true, but the fact that they're using this game as the sample in quotation marks for game key cards and they're using it to tell you like what a game key card is just kind of goes to show like, yeah, it's probably going to be a full-blown game key card and it's going to be on the shelves for people to buy, and a lot of people won't even know that they're getting a game key card. A lot of older people who are buying for their kids or for their grandkids, nieces and nephews and whatnot, they're probably not even going to realize like what the difference is. But to a lot of us people who collect video games, this is a big blow to Nintendo in general. And this whole like game key card thing has been a big blow to physical collectors. Maybe you're one of those people who doesn't care, and that's fine. But, I think that, being able to get a GameCube game and put it into my GameCube and power it up with no issues is a big thing. And for a lot of Switch games from Nintendo, like all Switch games from Nintendo, you can do that. You can literally put the Switch cartridge into your Switch 1 and play the game, even without updating it. You can just play the game. With the Switch 2, well, now it's like, well, I have Hitman World of Assassination, and I put that into my Switch 2, I have to download it. I have to download it from the internet to my console. If it's not connected to the internet, I either can't play the game or I can't download the game. And in the future, I've made this point so many times, in the future, when the Switch 2, 15, 20 years from now, is old news and the servers are being shut down, much like they did to the Wii U and the 3DS, those game key cards will not work. Unless Nintendo decides to keep those servers running forever, game key cards will not work. Code in the boxes will not work. The only thing that will work is the physical media that's inside of the box for like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing to me, and I'm sure it's disappointing to a lot of people. But hey, Pokemon Pokopia coming March 5th. Can't wait. In other Nintendo news, the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer had there was a new trailer for it. There's a new trailer for it, and it showed some new characters for the series, including Princess Rosalina, who was being voiced by Brie Larson. I don't think she actually said anything during the trailer, but they just revealed that Brie Larson was going to be voicing the character. And then Bowser Jr., who was in the trailer and did say something in the trailer, is being voiced by Benny Safdie, who I don't actually recognize the name. I mean, I guess I do recognize the name, but I don't think I've seen much of what he's been in. But it seems like it's gonna be fine. I think the casting is fine. Brie Larson maybe a bit. That's a bit of an interesting pick for Rosalina. But I guess I was kind of surprised when by Chris Pratt's performance at least, or whatever. So maybe I'll be surprised by Brie Larson. I don't know. I think in general, like in the trailer itself, Mario did say something during the trailer, and I think that it just sounded like Chris Pratt. And like in the original Mario movie, like Chris Pratt did put on a voice, right? But in the line that he gave in the Mario movie trailer here, it just sounded like Chris Pratt, and I was a bit taken aback. But I mean, the concept of the game, of the movie seems fun. Bowser is shrunken down inside of a castle, and he's like doing these like Rule 34 paintings of himself in Peach. And essentially Bowser Jr. comes in, and I think he's like going to capture Rosalina and use her to get back at the Mario Bros. And there's all these Lumas everywhere, and Peach and Toad are going through space and stuff like that. Animation-wise, looks really good. Bowser's facial animation, everyone's facial animation is looking good, and the movie itself is looking good. I just worry that it's going to have the same problem as the original Mario movie, just kind of being a more by the numbers kind of thing. They're probably going to reveal way too much about the story before it comes out. But they did reveal that the movie is going to be releasing in April of 2026. So it's not even that far away. It's really not that far away. So if you want to check out the trailer for that is available on Nintendo's YouTube channel, of course. And one more thing for Nintendo here. Nintendo has teased a new Lego Legend of Zelda set, which will possibly include Ganon. Oh, shit. But we do know that Link is there with Zelda in the background in this reveal trailer on Nintendo's Twitter page. and Navi is there as well as like a little floating bulb, which I don't know how that's going to work. It does seem like the set will be based on Ocarina of Time, which is pretty good. The movie is going to be set on Breath of the Wild, but this looks like the Lego set is going to be Ocarina of Time inspired because Link is wearing the green tunic and hat, and Zelda looks like the Ocarina of Time version of her as well with the pink dress in the background. So this is pretty exciting. Yeah, and Ganon is kind of probably going to have a Ganon Lego piece as well. I'm not sure what exactly the Lego set is going to entail. Probably it's going to be like a dungeon type thing. Maybe it'll be kind of like the Mario Lego, except not with the interactivity, but you'll be able to design your own dungeons out of Lego or something like that. Could be kind of cool. Other than that, though, I don't know enough about Legend of Zelda to tell you exactly what sets are going to be coming. Maybe the Deku Tree, maybe the Majora's Mask. I don't know. But yeah, Lego Legend of Zelda coming soon. We'll probably get a full reveal closer to its release in 2026. All right, so unfortunate news here. Crystal Dynamics has gone through another layoff round with over 30 people in the staff being laid off. In a announcement from Crystal Dynamics, they said, "To our players, as the realities of the industry continue to evolve, we've made the painful choice as a way to optimize the continued development of our flagship Tomb Raider game, as well as shaping the rest of the studio to make new games for the future." Which just feels like a general statement. The announcement was actually put out on the company's LinkedIn page, so where they cut 30 jobs for across the various departments and projects. This new Tomb Raider game, I don't know what they're expecting to do with it. I hope that's better than Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but at this point, yeah, I just don't see how they're going to be. Like, they've already cut so many jobs. Like, this is another round of layoffs from the studio. So it's not like this is the first time that they're laying off people. Like, this is the second or so time that they've laid off people from the studio. And I just feel like at this point, like, cut your losses, sell off the studio, do something to keep this studio alive. Like, I don't care if they have to cancel the Tomb Raider game or not. Like, it's painful to watch. It really is. And you're watching this stuff happen in real time. The news comes in about layoffs, and you start to wonder, like, what's happening. What more could happen? And there's always something more that can happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this Tomb Raider game that they're working on. It's probably going to take a bit longer than expected to come out since they are laying people off, and I'm hoping that those people aren't being replaced by AI. All right, let's go ahead and move on to what was announced at that game showcase. Woo-wee, we're getting about 2 hours in here. I'm going to go through this as fast as I can. I know I usually spend a good amount of time on these state of plays. This one just didn't really have anything that I was super interested in. Like, there's a couple of things here and there that I thought were interesting, but for the most part, it was DLCs or things we already knew about being re-announced. And there was some gameplay for the Marvel fighting game that's coming out, which did look very good, but I'm just going to go through the basics here. So Sony is putting out a cheaper version of the PlayStation model that is being locked to Japan. It's going to be only Japanese. It's not going to be. It's just going to have the Japanese language on that, and that is going to be a digital-only console, which is a cheaper option for Japan. They are also releasing a 27-inch monitor with DualSense charging functionality, which could be kind of cool for people who don't have a big gaming setup, or maybe they are playing at their desk or something like that. Could be cool to have a monitor that's specifically built for the PlayStation, or if like you have a kid who plays in their bedroom, having a dedicated TV or monitor in this case for the PlayStation, kind of a good idea there. The new Night Rain DLC was announced or shown off at this State of Play. This is coming out December 4th. It's called The Forsaken Hollows, and it's going to introduce two new characters. The Scholar, who is an academic who walks the land between, boasting impressive arcane levels. He gains incredible advantages through battlefield observation. There's also the Undertaker, an abbess who was mandated to slay the Night Lord, boasting impressive strength and faith. She sends enemies to the afterlife with ruthless efficiency. There are some new bosses as well as a new Shifting Earth map to investigate, which is pretty cool. We'll see if there's also some new enemies in there as well. I did not see anything really too new in the trailer in that case, but it's cool that we're going to be getting a new boss. They didn't really show off what the boss was, but he kind of looked like the Balrog from what I could kind of discern through the smoke. But yeah, like I said, that's coming out December 4th for not Hollow Knight, Elden Ring Night Rain. Gran Turismo 7 is getting its first paid DLC. That is coming the same day on December 4th. Big competition there. But this is going to be a DLC that includes 50 new races, around 20 themed categories inspired by global automotive and motorsport traditions, a 24-hour endurance racing mode for players who crave the ultimate test of skill and stamina, full race weekends. You can practice, qualify, and compete in main events for true racing simulation, the Gran Turismo Sophie 3.0 AI for intense tail-to-nose battles that will push your limits, and you'll get 5 million extra in-game credits if you buy the DLC. There's also a new update coming out called the Free Spec 3 update, which has some various updates and improvements in there as well. So there you go, Gran Turismo showing up there. There will be a Marvel Token PS5 beta. I believe the beta is also going to be available on PC as well. But this is coming in December. If you don't know, Marvel Token Fighting Souls is the really slick-looking fighting game coming from the same people who did Street Fighter. I don't think so, actually. Arc System Works. Who also did a Double Dragon. Okay, all right, cool. And the Dragon Ball games. Okay, so Fighter Z. So these are the same people behind Fighter Z, which I really liked Fighter Z. Anyway, so yeah, there's going to be a beta that's going to be available for PlayStation, a closed beta for PlayStation, which will only be available on December 5th, and it will run for 72 hours without any pauses or breaks. You'll be able to play as Captain America, Iron Man, Storm, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and what the fuck is this guy's name? Star-Lord. Be able to play as Star-Lord as well, which is good cast of characters there. Yeah, they also showed off that there's going to be like a little hub area as well where you play as little chibi versions of the characters and team up and fight people. But yeah, this game is looking very good. And it's probably this is like the biggest thing out of this showcase, I would say, is the new gameplay and then the reveal of the beta coming out. Yeah, they since the last closed beta, they've implemented some balance adjustments and improvements to the game, and we'll see what it feels like now once the beta comes around. A game called Wandering Sword Journeys was shown off here. This is a pretty interesting art style kind of game, inspired by Octopath Traveler. Another game called Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. They revealed the release date for that, which is March 12th. Nothing new there. The Dynasty Warriors Origins DLC, this was shown off here as well. They're showing the new weapons and characters that you'll meet in the game. That is coming January 22nd to 2026. It'll let you team up with factions outside of the Three Kingdoms. You'll also be able to play as Zuhui, who is a prominent supporting character in the base adventure. No Sleep for Konami Date. No Sleep for Konami Date, which was originally a Switch exclusive. That's going to be coming to PlayStation 5 next year. Monster Hunter World had another update. Digimon Story had a first DLC trailer with new quests and new Megamons. There was a new PS5 and PS4 DLC. Don't know anything about that. Fuck, these names of these games are so confusing. Kyoran Makasman. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Folks, I'm starting to lose my patience. Puzzle platformer Motion Wreck is coming to PS5 soon. Anime Fighter Blaze Blue is back, and it's getting a roguelite action mode. Pal World is publishing a Metroidvania action game on the PS5 and PS4. Fate Trigger is launching in early access on the PS5 next year. Inconbini is a cozy game coming to the PS5 next year. Tokyo Extreme Racer is making its long-awaited return on February 26, 2026 on the PS5. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined showed off some new gameplay. Octopath Traveler 0 had a free demo on the PS5 and PS4, also the Switch as well. Damon and Baby is a twin-stick shooter That's coming out next year. Coffee Talk Tokyo has a March 5th release, and Sega Classic Characters Knights II, and I think there was one other character, right? II, Knights, and Tangled and Whisperer. I'm not sure who those are coming to Sonic Racing Crossworlds, along with the new DLC pack for SpongeBob, which will include SpongeBob and Patrick, the Paddy Wagon, a Bikini Bottom themed course, new SpongeBob inspired music, and 6 new emotes for characters. So there you go. That's the Sega. That's the State of Play. That was a Tokyo exclusive. Had 2 things I was interested in. Everything else I just really didn't really care about. But if you liked anything here, good for you. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I really did not have any interest in anything they showed off during this presentation, other than the Marvel game and DLC for Night Rain. So there you go. My bad. I gave it a D, but you might give it something different. So whatever. Let's go ahead and move on to what's coming soon. Okay, there's a new Ratchet & Clank game coming. Woo! To mobile. To mobile gaming platforms, iOS and Android. This is going to be a free-to-play mobile multiplayer shooter in the same vein as Crash Team Rumble or something like that. In the trailer, it just kind of, the style and whatnot. I mean, it's reminiscent of Ratchet & Clank, but it's a much more cartoony version of it. Kind of reminded me of the some of the side content you can do in some of the Ratchet Clank games. But this is a mobile multiplayer game where you battle other people. You upgrade your weapons throughout the battle, grab some gear, grab some gadgets, stuff like that. There's also some other game modes, including Total Rumble, Blast Ball, Bolt Rush, and I think there's also a general team deathmatch mode as well. You can play as various characters from the Ratchet & Clank universe or some new ones as well, all hosted by Captain Quark. In the press release, they said the iconic characters from Ratchet & Clank franchise are back in stunning, fast-paced arena shooter packed with explosive weapons and larger-than-life action. Experience the humor, action, and energy of iconic universe in a bold, new, real-time multiplayer format. Play as legendary heroes from the past, now with unique abilities. Go solo or team up with other Rangers online in thrilling multiplayer games built for every kind of player. Free download soon. So I guess it's coming soon, maybe early next year. Who knows? But it looks like Ratchet's going to be in there, Rivet, Clank, of course. It looked like also, I don't know. There's a lot of characters who are in masks as well, not even really showing up. But, they did do a full gameplay reveal trailer. And the gameplay, I mean, it just reminds me of the Star Wars game Hunters that came out last year that only lasted half a year. It's just one of those games where I just, it's probably going to be fun for a couple rounds, but I just don't see this being that entertaining in my opinion. And the fact that there's no PlayStation version, it's just going to be a mobile game, is also quite disappointing to me as well. I get it, you want to expand your reach into other areas, but keep in mind your core fan base is still on PlayStation, and people expect to play the first party IPs on the PlayStation, but they're not doing that here, which is kind of crazy to me. But yeah, in general, it looks like your normal, mobile action game, touch controls and all that, a jump button, a special move button, etc. I just feel like there's really nothing much going on here in general that's going to make it, stand out from the pack. And like I said, we got Crash Team Rumble 2 years ago, which is essentially the same game format, but whatever. So yeah, there's 22 minutes of gameplay on our Virus YouTube channel. So there you go. Also, at the same time, there is a Horizon mobile game coming out. This is going to be an MMO game for mobile and PC. And once again, this is not coming to PS5. And even the studio behind the game are yeah, we should probably be putting this on PlayStation 5, but Sony does not want the game put on PS5, which is so fucking crazy to me, because the game itself, called Horizon MMORPG Steel Frontiers, looks good. I mean, graphically, it looks amazing. Gameplay-wise, I'm sure it's going to be a regular MMO experience, but at the same time, there's a lot of cool things going on here graphically, lots of cool environments to go through and sift through and stuff like that. I just don't understand. It's going to be a third person action adventure game, MMO RPG, of course, with boss fights and stuff like that. It's going to be massive multiplayer, so you're going to be able to team up with tons of other characters. You're going to be able to make your own character in the game and stuff like that. It just really boggles my mind that this is coming to PC, but it's not coming to PlayStation 5. It's so weird. It's coming to mobile and PC. Like, that is just such a weird thing. And apparently Guerrilla Games is closely following the development of this game as well. It's being developed by NCSoft, who are pretty big in the MMO space, so, at least it's in good hands. I would also like to say, apparently there's going to be a lot of AI usage in this game, which I do not like, whether that be voice acting or elements being put into the game. I don't understand what they're doing with that. But they said that they are relying on some AI elements to help develop the game, which doesn't sound great to me in general. Because the game itself, the gameplay that they put out on the official Horizon Steel Frontiers YouTube channel looks good. Like, I mean, as a person who doesn't really play MMOs, like, it does, I mean, this does look good. Like, I feel like I could see myself playing this game. But at the same time, like, why is it not being put on PlayStation? Much like that Ratchet and Clank game. Like, why are we putting our first-party IP not on its home console? That doesn't make any sense to me. It'd be like Nintendo putting out, fucking Mario Galaxy 3 on the PlayStation and not on the Switch. And I know they've done that in the past with mobile games, like the Mario Run game not being on Switch as well. But there's a lot of instances where Nintendo also puts out the games on Switch and PC. I'm sorry, and Android or mobile platforms. So it's not really that good of a comparison. But at the end of the day, I just like this new Horizon game. It looks good, and I would love to play this, and I probably will play it on PC. But at the same time, like, why is it not coming to PlayStation? Like, that is just such a missed opportunity there. Two big IPs from PlayStation not coming to PlayStation is just very strange. So, yeah, we'll wait to hear more about this, and maybe PlayStation will change their minds in the future. But as of right now, PC and mobile platforms in the future for this game. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond got a big trailer. This one's about 7 minutes long, which is the biggest look we've gotten at the game. In general, I don't need to see more gameplay for this. I think that the regular, corridor shooting gameplay looks really good, and they showed more of that off. Then they went into the other stuff, which I think is the more concerning stuff. They did show off the desert area a bit more here. Soul Valley is what it's being called. And once again, I have the same complaints where it's like the desert just doesn't really feel that fleshed out. It just looks very barren. Graphically, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look. It does look a bit better graphically than it did in the original reveal trailer for that. They also reveal that they will be helping out random soldiers who have been stranded on this planet. You'll be able to team up with them. They'll be over the comms talking to you and stuff like that. Apparently, one of the characters is being compared to Jar Jar Binks. And look, I love Jar Jar. I'm a bit of an outsider there, but I do understand that he is a very annoying character. And if you have someone over the comms or journeying with you and being very jokey and quippy, I just feel like that really... It's a real opposite of what you want for a Metroid game in general. Now, these things are coming out of the previews for the game, which people are allowed to talk about like the first act of the game or something, like the first couple hours of the game. So like, maybe he doesn't stay with you for the entire game. Maybe he dies in the first act. I don't know, but I think that it could be a bit of a killer for this game if it's not so much about the isolation. It's more so about saving these soldiers and working with these soldiers. And it's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not like super concerned about it, but if they do have like a quirky character in there, that could turn annoying very, very quickly. Especially, it could take you out of the game too, because if these corridors are designed as well as I'm hoping that they are from these little trailers that they've been showing off, like, this could be a really gritty looking game. But if you have someone in your earpiece going, "Oh, wow, that just happened," or "Perfectly done, Samus," like, I could see this being a real annoying thing very quickly. Like, helping out these soldiers every so often could be a good plot point to move the story along. But if they're constantly with you and giving you upgrades and talking to you, and that could really take you out of the experience. And Metroid minus like Metroid 3, I think, has kind of been a more subdued, like immersive experience, and maybe even Metroid Other M too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does give me a bit of concern, but at the same time, well, I want to wait and see to really judge anything, right? Because right now it's just he said, she said stuff, And from what they showed off in the trailers, it doesn't seem too bad, and they haven't really focused on anything like that, really. So we'll see. They also showed off there's going to be 2 modes to the game: quality mode that will run at 4K at 60 FPS HDR, and performance mode that will run in 1080p 120 FPS HDR. So there you go. We'll wait to hear more about that. Death Stranding, the anime series, will be launching on Disney Plus, and this was revealed by Kojima Productions on Twitter, aka X. Breaking news, they said, an original anime series based on Death Stranding has officially been announced. Death Stranding Isolations, which is a working title, coming exclusively to Disney Plus in 2027. So we got to wait a little while for that. It'll be produced by Hideo Kojima. It'll be directed by Takayuki Sano. Original character designs by Ilya Kuvshinov. Animation production is being handled by E&H Production, and there's more information on the Kojima Productions website if you want to check that out. But art style doesn't look too bad. It kind of reminds me of course, it reminds me of that Cyberpunk anime that came out a couple of years ago. But yeah, that's pretty big news. Pretty good stuff there. In the description, it says, somewhere in North America, just as Sam Bridges walks through the continent in order to save America, the someones are also trying to deal with their isolation in their own way. An old man trying to realize salvation through ways outside of connection, advocated by Bridges, a female warrior who tries to kickstart a world of constant fighting, a boy with a grudge against Bridges, a girl who embraces loneliness, and on the precipice of the end of humanity and the world, their fates and hopes converge as another story of Death Stranding begins. So yeah, this is going to be a story that's taking place outside of the Death Stranding, not universe, but like the main Death Stranding story, and we'll see what happens. I think it's an interesting concept, and we'll wait to hear more once that approaches. That's, like I said, that's coming in 2027, so we got a little while to wait before we get any more information about that. Red Dead Redemption 1, it was rumored that it was coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch 2. It's now been confirmed that there is a native Red Dead Redemption version for Netflix, mobile platforms, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. So it is official. The PS5 and whatever versions are coming on December 2nd. It is a free upgrade for those systems if you already own the game on PS4 or Switch 1, which is pretty nice. You can also carry over your progress from the older version to the newer version, along with a number of other enhancements as well coming to the game for the next generation. And of course, this has been speculated that Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to be coming to the newer systems as well. That has not been confirmed yet, but we did get confirmation that the original Red Dead Redemption plus the Undead Nightmare are coming to the newer platforms that I've already mentioned. And it's kind of crazy. It's also coming to Netflix. That's a big one there too. Netflix and mobile platforms. That's kind of a big one as well. So yeah, there you go. Cool beans there as well. Blood of the Dawn Walker got a new gameplay trailer. This is about 30 minutes long on the official Dawn Walker YouTube channel. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail about the what you see inside of this trailer, but just know that the game itself definitely is reminding me of a Witcher style game, or even the latest Final Fantasy, where you're in like medieval times. I know a lot of people didn't like that game, but the open world kind of reminds me of that aesthetic, medieval times type thing, with a bit of a fantasy element in there. They showed off some gameplay where you were just choosing the fate of people, or going through some story beats. Then at the end of it all, they showed off some gameplay for it, which also looked very good as well. So I think this is going to be a very cool, very good game. Blood of the Dawn Walker is coming in 2026 across multiple platforms. And if you want to check out that trailer, it is available now on the Dawn Walker official YouTube channel. Fallout Season 2 had its first trailer, or first real trailer here. The new Season 2 series is going to start on December 17th, and I'm very excited for that. The trailer itself was pretty good, showing off the main cast going into New Vegas, of course, and it looks like there's maybe going to be a new vault as well in there as too. Yeah, it looks like that they're going to be going across to New Vegas, seeing what's about, seeing what's up, and of course they'll be catching up with other characters as well that we saw throughout Season 1. And the series will start on December 17th and it will end February 4th, 2026. So excited to check that out. Can't wait because the first season was very good, all things considered. Mixtape, the new... I guess it was a game coming from the same people who did The Artful Escape, which was a good game. Mixtape is now been pushed back to 2026. Mixtape was like a narrative adventure that was based on like 90s culture, right? And so they're pushing this back to 2026. And they said, while developing The Artful Escape, our 3D artist Mikey made an oven asset. It was a nice oven, the work of a true pro. He even put the knobs on. And that's who we are at Beethoven and Dinosaur. We put the knobs on. Mixtape is almost complete. We're putting the knobs on 2026. So that's a very strange way to announce a delay. But it's coming in 2026 now. I'm sure that it's going to be early 2026. They also released a new blurb about the game. En route to their final party together, a perfectly curated playlist draws three friends into a dreamlike reenactment of their formative memories. Experience a variety of narrative vignettes exploring the pivotal moments that shaped them. Players will immerse themselves in the teenage wasteland by playing through a mixtape of joyful gameplay, from skateboarding and flying to taking photos after hours in an abandoned theme park, hitting baseballs, and putting on a fireworks show from the backseat of your car. It's the greatest hits of a teenage experience, from the first kiss to the last dance. So there you go. I think this is going to be a good game. I think graphically it looks pretty good, and the story sounds good to me. And it's probably it's going to be more of a Telltale type experience, I'm sure. But if you're interested in that, it's going to be coming out in 2026 now, and we'll probably see more about that when it's set to release. You all know me. Roller Coaster Tycoon is a big part of my life, and they've officially announced that Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Complete Edition is getting an official physical release on PS5 and Switch, which is pretty cool. Pre-orders are available now on Atari's website for $30, and it is coming officially from Atari. The entire game will be on disc and or on cartridge. They will ship in March of 2026. And yes, I already pre-ordered my copy. Roller Coaster Tycoon for me is just a big series. It's one of the first series that I really fell in love with as a kid. And when they released the Roller Coaster Tycoon classic version on Switch, I was like, I have to get that. And now Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which I didn't spend as much time with as a kid, but it is still a very good game. I knew I had to pick this up too. So yeah, I ended up picking this up. Of course, it's already been available on Switch since 2020, but now it's been reimagined and has over 300 coasters, 500 scenery pieces, 60 shops and services, 20 animals, and includes all the content of the DLC pack called Soaked and the Wild expansion pack as well. And this is a limited run games release too, so I'm sure they'll be doing some sort of collector's edition in the near future. They'll probably announce that. But as of right now, you can pre-order it on Atari's website, and it will ship in March of 2026. And finally, here are the 9 PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium games coming for November. These will be available November 18th, which is pretty soon. So you will be able to play on the PlayStation Plus Extra service Grand Theft Auto 5, Pacific Drive, Still Wakes the Deep, Insurgency Sandstorm, Thank Goodness You're Here, The Talos Principle 2, Monster Jam Showdown, and MotoGP 25. I think this is a good collection of games. Grand Theft Auto 5, of course, is a big one. Still Wakes the Deep was a pretty cool, The Thing-inspired kind of oil rig game. Pacific Drive is a pretty interesting roguelite experience. Thank Goodness You're Here is a funny British comedy. Talos Principle 2 is one of my favorite games from, 2024? Did it come out? 2024? Very good puzzle game. Definitely recommend that. And then the other games are probably fine. And then the one premium game coming is Tomb Raider Anniversary, which was originally released on the PS2. That is coming on the same day, November 18th, if you want to check that out. They also revealed that Red Dead Redemption is coming December. That's the first game they've announced for December 2025. So if you don't own the game yet, you'll be able to play it on PlayStation Plus Extra when that game does come to PS5. So that's pretty cool there as well. All right, folks, it has been a long haul, okay? I apologize, but it's been a long haul. Let's go ahead and do the final part of the show, which is guess that screenshot. I'll show you a still image, a zoomed-in image of a game that I've talked about today. Just tell me what game that's from, either in the Discord, in the Fair64 section, link down below, or comment on the latest episode on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere else as you please. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations on YouTube or Spotify, and I'll give you a super reaction, and you'll get the admiration of your peers on the Discord. Here's a screenshot right now. All right, if you know what that screenshot is, let me know at the place that I told you to. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and or watching this episode of the Fair64 podcast. I very much appreciate that. I know it's been a lot of longer episodes recently. I've had a lot to say recently, but I appreciate you listening, whether it be all the way through or if you're listening to segments that you want to listen to. I appreciate that. Don't you worry. If you want to check out anything else I do, Film Freaks with a Z. We talk about movies. The latest episode about Monty Python and the Holy Grail, if you want to check that out. Also, I do a podcast called Fubar Ferret. I just kind of shoot the shit on that podcast. New episodes of that release monthly. I also stream on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. Right now, we are playing Black Ops 2. It is Bunger Month, so you can actually come to the Discord and recommend a game for me to play from my backlog if you so desire. But we are playing Black Ops 2 right now. Anything else is all at Yummy the Ferret, Yummy the Ferret VODs, Yummy the Ferret on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. I don't really go on Instagram, but yeah, all those things are all available to follow if you want to. And Fair64 comes out weekly. I appreciate your support, and I will talk at you next week. I'm Yummy the Ferret, and I'm out of here. So long. The Ferret64 podcast is owned and edited by Yummy the Ferret. Sound clips included during the podcast were made by Yummy the Ferret. The Ferret64 logo was made by Player2P2. The intro and outro music was made by Gail Lollipop on Fiverr. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions are my own. Thank you for listening.